no traffic after 70 up to 75th. Crash on the northwest side, 71st Street at Corporate Drive. Traffic sponsored by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Advanced solutions from Comcast Business help turn today's enterprises into engines of modern business. It's how retailers become logistics mastering, supply chain transforming, seamlessly restocking, frictionless paying favorite shopping destinations.
Thank you for shopping.
And how nationwide restaurants become customer focusing, touchscreen ordering,
second window, please,
rapidly customizing, quick serving eateries. It's how we turn financial firms into market tracking, client servicing, cyber securing economic engines.
Loan approved. Congratulations.
And how hospitals become the patient scanning, data managing, welcome to the worlding, life-changing healthcare facilities that we all depend on. With leading networking and connectivity, advanced cybersecurity, and expert partnership, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business. Powering possibilities. Restrictions apply.
The forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
A few spotty morning showers in northern Indiana, otherwise windy and warm for the afternoon, highs near 78. Strong thunderstorms possible later on this afternoon into the evening. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
And as those storms develop, we will have it all for you right here on 93 WIBC, your severe weather station. I'm John Herrick on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. 9:06. Time for Kendall and Casey.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
So, what do we make of last night?
Well, we know that the Republicans still have the majority in the House of Representatives. I know there was some concern about that, but
Wait, though. But I mean,
you're talking about the special elections, right? In Florida and Wisconsin.
I'm talking about across the country. Like, if you just look at who won and who lost, you say, well, okay, it was a draw. So there were multiple elections across the fruited plain last night, primarily in the states of Florida and Wisconsin. There were multiple state U.S. House races in Florida to replace people who were a part, who left to be part of Trump's cabinet, right? Walls and it was Gates, and then obviously Gates dropped out, but he'd already resigned from Congress. And in those two elections, the Republicans did win. However, they won by far less margins than Trump won those districts just a few months ago.
Yeah, so they underperformed. And I think what you can take away is, yes, Florida is still MAGA headquarters. They still won. They won by less. So Trump's influence was missing in Wisconsin this time.
Yeah. So then in Wisconsin, there were two things that happened that were interesting in Wisconsin. There was a Supreme Court race, and Wisconsin, they made this battleground Galactica, right? Because they said, well, Elon Musk came in there with all this money because the judges, they said, if this judge wins, the Wisconsin Supreme Court is drawn is 3-3. This judge's race will decide whether a liberal or conservative majority exists on that court. And as such, if the Wisconsin Supreme Court goes a different way, they'll redraw the districts,
right?
And it will likely lose the House of Representatives.
Yeah, and the redistricting that could tip the balance, right, between Republicans and Democrats divided in the House.
So the liberal wins there. However, at the same time, in the state of Wisconsin, a constitutional initiative to put voter ID into their state constitution passed.
Right.
So you're looking at this mixed bag of, okay, so Republicans win in Florida, but not nearly as much as they did just a few months ago. The liberal wins in Wisconsin in the Supreme Court race, but yet at the same time, voter ID also gets enshrined into the Constitution. So you have all these very conflicting things that took place last night.
Right.
So what do I do with all this?
Well, I think what you say is that, this judge in the judicial race in Wisconsin was saying that she beat the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, who was supporting her opponent.
Well, she kind of did.
Yeah, but she also had her own backing from a really rich guy.
Well, that's right. She's not
you had two rich guys battling it out.
She's not a poor singing orphan. Yeah, let's go ahead and clarify that. She is not indeed a poor singing orphan. So, what I think you saw yesterday is, what's our old saying here on this program, Casey? The Republicans
are ass.
Are ass. Yes, the Republicans are ass. And what we mean by that is when you separate Trump from the Republican ticket, the Republican Party is still reviled by this country, and you're seeing that without Trump on the ballot, that the Republicans are not doing anywhere near as well as they did with Trump because they're not producing. The Republicans are not. Trump has some sort of bizarro brand loyalty, the likes of which I've never seen in American politics, where literally no matter what he does, or if he doesn't follow through, or if he makes things worse, like it just simply doesn't matter to people. They're just loyal to him, and it doesn't matter. And sure, hey, do a reconciliation package that adds $4.5 trillion to the debt. Yeah, no problem, fine. Hey, put these tariffs on everything that's going to make things more expensive. Hey, the stock market went down. Doesn't matter, it's Trump. Like, he is void. He is immune. He is Teflon Don of any sort of sense of his voter base turning on him. But the Republicans are clearly not enjoying the same loyalty and relationship and brand identity that Donald Trump has.
So the loss happened in Wisconsin, in a state that Trump won in November, right? So this, I guess, signals some challenges for non-Trump races. Is this a rejection of Donald Trump and Elon Musk in Wisconsin?
Well, Musk is the one that's got to probably do some looking around right now. And this is where it comes back to the thing we've talked about for well over a month on this program now. And it's the thing that Mitch Daniels told me. He keeps doing these interviews when you're not here. So I'm not saying that's an indictment of you. But that we talked.
Same last name, no relation.
We talked with him about, because he was obviously did things in the state of Indiana that reformed government and the ways he went about it. And he had said in an article in Politico, which sparked this conversation, hey, it's not that what Musk's end goal is bad, which is to reform the government, but he may be going about it too much, too fast. And the better approach, and I'm paraphrasing what Daniels said in both the Politico article and our conversation, was get wins. Now, small is in air quotes, right? Because these small wins would be multi-billion-dollar wins for the taxpayers. But get those and then build rather than a machete to everything, because you're going to run the risk of alienating people who you otherwise, if you can prove these victories and then build on that. And I think you're seeing that where people, to some extent. Now, again, I think the bigger problem is the Republicans, because they don't follow through on anything. You can't trust them. They never do what they say they're going to do, which is get the spending under control, reform the government. I mean, they don't do that. They're liars. The Republicans are liars. Their brand
is ass.
And I think what you're seeing is that when you remove Trump from the equation, it's a pick 'em. And in states that normally go Democrat, Democrats are going to win. And in states that go Republican, Republicans are going to win. And that's sort of where we're at, because it doesn't make any sense that if the Republicans had any sort of brand identity, that a state that voted a voter ID into their constitution would not pick a Republican Supreme Court justice if the Republicans had any sort of relationship with the voting populace at large.
So I think it says that, yeah, Trump still holds some significant sway, but the Republicans need to start rethinking their strategies for any more off-cycle elections coming up. Trump's approval ratings, they've dipped slightly now in the latest polling, just 2 months into his second term. However, the Republicans polling, not as bad as the Democrats. Their approval rating now is only at 21%. So it's almost, Rob, like we're looking at everybody hates both of these parties.
Well, they do, because nobody's doing the thing. Now, Musk is doing the thing that needs to be done. However, he's not doing it, and I've said this for even before we had that conversation with Mitch Daniels. He's not going about it in the right way, because our system, our collective system, in terms of governance, is not set up for shock and awe. People do not respond well to shock and awe. Even if they vote for change. They do not respond to change, dramatic change in mass, especially without momentum. And it leads us into this thing with Jim Banks, which I would like to talk about when we come back.
Okay.
Because the Banks thing is so hypocritical, what he did yesterday. And Jim does this all the time, where he presents himself as some Johnny Tough Guy, Billy Badass. And then I thought it was what he did yesterday, running into that elevator and hiding, surrounded by federally funded manservants, was such a great synopsis of the whole Jim Banks thing. And for so many people out there are like, oh, this is great. What an own.
A lot of people were cheering him on, saying based.
Well, let's talk about what Jim Banks actually did yesterday. And let's talk about what's actually going on in this country, because I think the Republicans, in terms of how they're going about the government cuts and the DOGE, have really misread the tea leaves. And I think, as we saw in a place like Wisconsin, it's biting them in the backside. And I think when you see something like what happened yesterday, you can either live in the Twitter echo chamber, or we can talk about how the populace at large views what's going on.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It is 93 WIBC.
When you wake up,
You understand this is about money. 1,000%. They started this.
when you work,
We are going to make some noise today.
Eliminate property taxes now.
Hanging out with us, it's fun.
Right.
when you drive home,
Is it time to try something new, you think? Because it hasn't worked, and maybe try something new.
traffic when you need it,
Stopped on 465 again.
and updates all the time.
I'm Ryan Hedrick on the level, on the go.
Stay in the know wherever you go with 93 WIBC.
Are you thinking this year I want to look and feel better and get my hair back? We Grow Hair Indie can help you do just that. I'm Rob, and I got my hair back at We Grow Hair Indie. Here's Darren Andrews, clinic director, to tell you why I chose them.
For nearly 20 years, we've helped thousands of clients grow their hair back, and we can help you. We're one of only 2 places in the entire country to offer the Artist Robotic FUE and multi-unit hair grafting.
I got multi-unit hair grafting. I love the results and cannot believe how much hair I got back. I can't recommend them enough. Call right now, 317-522-2995 for a free evaluation. Great technology, great company, great people, great results. Go to WeGrowHairIndie.com, see my results, and call 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995. Don't you want to say, I got my hair back? Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners, so they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Hey, it's Matt Bear. Warm weather is coming, and now's the time to call Cochran Exteriors to beat the spring rush. Roofing, siding, windows, doors, gutters, and more. My friends at Cochran Exteriors will give you a free consultation with options to meet your budget, and all without the high pressure or gimmicky sales tactics. Over 10,000 satisfied area customers, a lifetime workmanship warranty. It's why Cochran Exteriors is my choice. Visit CochranExteriors.com.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But this one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now, here's a good number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. Oh, one last number. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
I came in over 10 years ago and I couldn't breathe, ever. And ever since then, now I can breathe.
Breathe well
with simple solutions. AdventNows.com.
And it's bad, Leroy Brown.
We got to talk about this thing with Jim Banks.
Yeah.
Because I saw this yesterday, and I see things differently than the rest of the world, right?
Yeah.
Because I've been around these people, and I know these people, and I saw this yesterday, and I thought, what a complete hypocrite.
Yeah.
And I find, by the way, it's Kendall Casey show. I'm Rob. That's Casey. Jim Banks is a senator from Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of these guys who wanted to be in politics from the time he was old enough to tie his shoes. He was a state senator, then he became a congressman, then he's now a senator when Braun ran for governor, and he's the guy who voted for Kevin McCarthy. Jim Banks is the worst kind of politician because he presents himself as one thing and then he does the exact opposite. So, I'm a Trump guy. I'm a conservative, and then he votes for Kevin McCarthy for Speaker of the House 15 times.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get any more establishment than Kevin McCarthy. He lined up behind. He's a loyalist. He knew where his bread was buttered. Jim Banks ran for leadership of the House because he's accomplished nothing in the House. He was dismissed by his colleagues. And then as soon as he got dismissed by his colleagues for leadership, he pivoted to the next plan to elevate himself, which was a U.S. Senate seat. And he recognized firmly smooching his lips to McCarthy's butt cheeks was the fastest way to avoid a primary and ensure money flowed to him, et cetera. All you need to know is Todd Young and Eric Holcomb and the Republican State Party endorsed Jim Banks running for U.S. Senate.
Who did not debate, by the way.
The prosecution rests on that. Then you're correct. Then, of course, he refused to debate his opponents. Mm-hmm. They got John Rust kicked off the ballot. Mm-hmm. That's who Jim Banks is. Jim Banks is I say one thing and present myself as one way and then do another thing guy, and that's who he is. So this video now has surfaced of a federal worker, a person claiming to be a federal worker who was laid off as part of the DOJ reforms cuts.
So it's all part of the Department of Health and Human Services. They're laying off a quarter of their workforce, and that's infecting about 10,000 employees, right? They were notified by email when they went to work. They were told to check their security badges, and then, they're reducing the workforce from 82,000 to 62,000 employees.
So let's talk about that for a second, because one of the things, and I think you saw this yesterday, the Musk, DOJ, is not handling the PR game well. They're not selling this well to the American public. And we have a coworker whose spouse works for the federal government. And this coworker had relayed to me, this is a longtime federal worker by all means, highly accredited, esteemed member of the workforce, right? This person had said, hey, there's a lot of people right now who have been very devoted civil servants who are not just there cashing a paycheck, who are incredibly nervous about their jobs.
Right.
And while it's fine, and we've talked about this, to say you're going to cut the federal government because that should not be any different or immune from accountability, simply, I think we have made a big mistake, or DOJ or our side or whatever you want to say has made a big mistake by just presenting it as, well, every person who gets cut is some sort of bum who was just, who just sucking off the taxpayers. And I think that is alienating a lot of people. And I think you saw that play out yesterday in Wisconsin. I think you saw it play out in Florida, too. The districts were so red that the Republican was able to win.
But not by as much.
And I think the Republicans, which comes back to what we talked about earlier, and the Mitch Daniels approach, which is get your wins, build the momentum, build trust with people, and then go bigger and bigger and bigger versus coming in and presenting everybody as, hey, it doesn't mean they don't have to go. People get fired in our industry all the time who are great workers. People get fired in any industry all the time who are great workers. But I think there has been a real backlash, or there is forming a real backlash on how they're presenting this, and as though that every worker, whether the job is needed or not, doesn't mean the person's bad. It doesn't mean the person didn't appreciate their job. It doesn't mean the person didn't enjoy or have pride in their work.
So you're taking this thing with Banks as more of a personal attack on this guy without even knowing.
Well, I think Banks tries to present himself as Billy Badass guy. Do we have the audio of this? Do we do. Okay. So to set this up for you. So Jim Banks is somewhere in the nation's in the capital,
You're
right?
in the basement.
Yeah. And this guy who has been laid off, and maybe he deserved to, maybe he didn't. I don't think anybody knows the full story, but he's been laid off, which any of us who have ever been laid off, if you've ever been laid off from a job, that's hurtful. That you're in a sense of panic. Hey, what am I going to do? He's been on a kind of a mission to figure out why he got laid off, what the premise of his firing was, his coworkers. He claims he's struggling to get answers, and he approaches Jim Banks, who is walking around the nation's capital, the basement.
Walking to the elevator.
Right. It doesn't appear, based on the film that we've seen, he's not being aggressive. He's not doing anything that Republican journalists or conservative journalists haven't done to Democrats, right? I mean, that now we don't know what happened before or after, but it doesn't appear like anybody's in any fear of their life or safety or whatever.
Right.
Okay. Do you want to play this audio?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, I was a worker at HHS. I was fired illegally on February 14th. There are many people who are not getting social service programs, especially people with disabilities. Are you going to do anything to stop what's happening?
You probably deserved it.
I deserved it?
You probably deserved it.
I deserved it.
Dude,
wow.
that's
Yeah, that's great to hear. Why did I deserve it?
Because you seem like a clown.
Okay, sir, you shouldn't have said that.
Okay, so if you can't hear that, he says you probably deserved it and you seem like a clown. Now, maybe this guy was dressed like a clown. Maybe he had his face painted like a clown. But what happens then is Jim Banks gets on this elevator, and this is the still image people are showing.
Well, it's his new profile pic.
And he's surrounded by what appear to be federal manservants. Now, unless these guys are there working and volunteering or running a soup kitchen of some sort, or they're part of the presidents of the Jim Banks fan club, these are would-be federal workers. They've got the suits on. They're surrounding him. So you've got a team full of people, Jim Banks, who we are paying as taxpayers to work for you. All those jobs are definitely needed. It's an entourage.
Yeah.
Like, how many people do you need to walk around with you?
They're his LAs, his legislative assistants.
Right. So the hypocrisy of this guy, first of all, being incredibly rude and dismissive to this guy. Maybe the guy needed to be fired. Maybe the job needed to go. Good chance it probably did. But there's a way you handle it, which means you don't tell somebody without knowing who they are or what they were doing, you deserve to be fired and you're a clown. That's totally inappropriate. And two, the hypocrisy of this guy getting on an elevator surrounded by federally funded manservants, judging somebody else's federal job, and then acting like he's some sort of Owen Billy Badass as he flees in an elevator surrounded by people.
So Banks said that he went to Washington to decrease the size and scope of the federal government.
Start with you!
No one's entitled to a taxpayer-funded job,
Banks.
especially in positions that waste those funds. He says he supports President Trump and Doja's mission to eliminate waste. The thing is, we don't know the backstory. This guy could have been chasing Jim Banks for weeks. He could have been bothering him every time he leaves his office. He does say, I was illegally fired. So right there, I think he's trying to be a bit of an instigator. And if this guy has lost his job, his idea is to go chasing senators down around and filming them to create political drama. When, many people are saying, yeah, that's awful. We feel bad for you. Many people have lost their jobs. Why are you special? Why are you entitled? Why are you saying you were illegally fired? Go work on your resume. Isn't there a better use of your time than go chasing after Jim Banks?
Well, that's fine.
It's another side.
But don't act like you're Mr. Cut Government Man, because you voted for Kevin McCarthy 15 times. And how much government did the Republicans cut under Kevin McCarthy? I'll wait. They gave Biden almost everything he wanted. You wholeheartedly supported McCarthy and then Johnson. You're saying this to this guy as you're surrounded by what appear to be federal employees.
Yeah.
You're fleeing on an elevator. Get out of here. That guy, that job may have not needed to exist. But there's a way you handle it, because the reality is people are losing their jobs in this, just like they lose jobs in our industry, just like they lose jobs in every industry, and they're people too. And when the public sees this, he can get whatever kudos he thinks he's getting on Twitter echo chamber.
Yeah.
That's fine. But as we saw yesterday, the public you are not winning the battle of public opinion on this right now. So you can be Johnny Tough Guy and Billy Badass and make it your profile picture and go, look at me, look at how great I am. Or you can accept the fact that these are people too. These people vote. They have families. They have careers. They have lives. And if this guy needed to go, there's a way you handle that, and that did a disservice.
Well, I think it goes back to the decorum conversation. How do you want your representatives to act? And we've had this conversation for a long time about how Republicans never seem to fight. They always seem to roll over to the crying baby until they just finally give the crying baby what they want. So you can also take the side that here's Jim Banks saying, you know what, I'm done with this. We're here to do this job to cut spending, even though they're not. I mean,
right, Casey, they're not. He's not doing, and you're doing this as you're getting on an elevator surrounded by federal workers. Cut your own. Why don't you start? Why do you need all those people around you? What I'm saying, and this is why we're number one, because we don't like any of these people. So I'm not going to take Jim Banks. I'm not just going to go, oh, Jim Banks, what a great guy, because he's a
tough
Republican.
Guy. I know. He's getting a lot of praise for that because he's fighting.
Yeah. Get rid of your own guys. Why don't you just start doging your own office, Jim Banks? Oh, and if those guys weren't your workers, who do they work for? Who are they? Are they just volunteers? Are they, if they're getting paid, why don't you make them feel the way this guy did and see how they handle it?
We've got to get to Jim Merritt. He's going to join us coming up. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It is 93 WIBC.
Looking for a great deal on a new Lincoln? Come to Tom Roush Lincoln. Select 2024 Lincoln Navigators, now $15,000 off, and get 0% for 72 months. How about an all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus, now $6,000 off with rates starting at 4.9% for 60 months. We look forward to seeing you at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Lincoln Navigator MSRP 104,825. Lincoln Nautilus MSRP 57,785. Offers good through April 30th, 2025. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What all the rain means. You've got a cloudy sky, and it's 52 in downtown Indy. Rain on radar north of Indianapolis. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 9:31. Even after severe weather moves out of Indiana tonight, rain is supposed to continue.
Starting tonight, off and on, all the way into Saturday. And when you get those repeated rains over the same areas, that can lead to not only flash flooding, but a significant river flooding by the weekend.
Chad Swain with the National Weather Service says most of Indiana's under a flood watch, and severe weather is possible between the hours of 4 p.m. today and 4 a.m. tomorrow. Also, speaking of that video that Kendall and Casey were just talking about with Jim Banks and the fired federal worker, we just spoke to Jim Banks moments ago. You will hear from him coming up in our 10 o'clock newscast. Both parties declaring victory in Tuesday night's special elections. Democrat-backed Judge Susan Crawford is the winner of the open seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. While technically a nonpartisan race, it became the target of millions spent by groups linked to Elon Musk, who supported her Republican-backed opponent. Republicans won special elections for 2 key House seats in Florida. Brad Pitt will be starring in a follow-up to his Quentin Tarantino film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And The Hollywood Reporter says Tarantino wrote the script for the new movie, but the director will be Social Network filmmaker David Fincher. Brad Pitt will be reprising his Oscar-winning role as Hollywood stuntman Cliff Booth in the new movie, which the report says is not a sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but is based on the film. And your opening bell report on 93 WIBC is brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. So far, the Dow is down 229 points to 41,760. The S&P 500 is down 51 points to 5581. And the NASDAQ trails 237 points, 17,212. I'm John Herrick, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Life can be full of risks. One thing you shouldn't take a risk with ever is your family's health insurance. If you're self-employed or you now need affordable health insurance, you need to make this free call right now and see how the Health Insurance Helpline can help you get it. We specialize in helping the self-employed and people just like you that need affordable health insurance to get it. We have short and long-term health insurance plans, and some even cover dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Don't take a risk with your your family's health insurance, it's not worth it. If you're self-employed or now need affordable health insurance, call right now and learn for free how to get it. Listen, affordable health insurance plans for everyone just like you are a free phone call away. So give us a shout right now.
800-659-7540. 800-659-7540. 800-659-7540. That's 800-659-7540.
20% off all gift shop decor at Sundown Gardens. Now open on Sundays from 11 to 4. Sundown Gardens, located on the corner of Spring Mill and 186th Street in Westfield.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
Do you need air conditioning service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust, like Family Heating and Air Conditioning? Find that American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
Your future holds so much potential. The question is, are you planting the right seeds today to make it flourish? At Howard Bailey Financial, we strive to help you create a retirement plan that can adapt to your evolving needs, offering guidance to bring you clarity, confidence, and purpose along the way. Whether you're just beginning or refining your financial strategy, we're here to support you. Let's grow something lasting together. Text GROW to 888-262-1104 to start planning for your future full of possibility. That's GROW to 888-262-1104. Take the first step today. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
From a fast break to recovery, Indiana hospitals are here for every Hoosier, regardless of their ability to pay. That's why we're teaming up with legislators on a winning playbook to lower costs and protect access to care across our communities. Because good policy doesn't leave anyone on the sidelines. Learn more at HoosierLifeline.com.
Paid for by the Indiana Hospital Association.
Well, on his porch he stretched a banner that said, "John, welcome home." Bobby pulled his Ford out of the garage.
So nobody in the State House seems to want to pin Diego Morales down. Let's try to get to the bottom of why. And, well, when it comes to knowing lawmakers, nobody knows them like this guy. 30 years in the Indiana Senate. The great Jim Merritt joins us now. Hello.
Robert, hello.
Okay, so I know you would have never tolerated the bull crap coming from the Indiana Secretary of State, Diego Morales.
It's time. It's time to pin him down.
Yeah.
And it's time for our leadership to step up and demand answers to everything that he's doing these days. Because Secretary of State is very, very important for businesses and for people in general. Robert, I went to the Secretary of State's website the other day and created an LLC. And so,
nice guy consulting or a nice night.
Rolodex you. But bottom line is Secretary of State plays a large role and has played a large role since the 1980s.
Okay, so just very quick, I'm not going to do the deep dive because we want to get your opinion on things, and we assume most people know about this now. We've covered it ad nauseum, and so have other people. But Diego Morales, Secretary of State, disappears for upwards of 10 days. The staff won't reveal where he's at, just says he's on some more economic development mission. He ends up in India. Apparently with a guy who now they're listing as a senior advisor, Raju Chintala, who has, based on state documents, contracts with Diego's office. That's a red flag in and of itself. But then this guy Raju is boasting, bragging, promoting, whatever word you want to use on social media, how he's going to be in India selling access to these EB-5 visas. So you've got the Secretary of State in India talking about how he's on an economic development mission. Can you back me up? You know, nobody knows the General Assembly and the state codes and laws and like you. The Secretary of State has zero economic development responsibility,
and as well as foreign business. He's got two strikes.
Yeah,
he's
full of crap when that's what he's talking about.
That is just totally not his well to dig, and he is in the wrong lane. He's picked the wrong lane, and it's not acceptable.
Yeah. Okay. So you've got the Secretary of State disappearing, going to India, saying he's on an economic development mission, which you're saying is everybody else has. That's not in his purview. It's not his job. He's then in India, it turns out, with this guy who has, according to documents, contracts with the state. $80,000 is what we found. And then now he's listed as a senior advisor, Raju. And Raju is selling EB5 access. Oh, and by the way, the place he says he's going to be while he's in India, the Indy Star listed that Diego Morales met with at least the mayor of that place. So I'm not wrong, and our audience isn't wrong to be looking at this going, somebody get us answers on what the heck happened here.
Well, not only that, I feel for the Secretary of State's staff.
Do you? Because they know what he is.
What? No. I think
Jerry Bonnet knows what Diego is, the attorney. Keegan Kagan Prentice knows what he is, the legislative director. They know what he is.
Well, of course, they're just doing their job, and you just can't, the people that work for him.
Then leave. If you know what a guy is, then leave.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Nobody's holding a gun to their head, forcing them to stay.
But the question is it's back to the legislature. Who is in charge of his budget? And the people,
That's right.
the hard-working people that are dealing with securities and the auto dealers and everything that the Secretary of State has done for the last 40 years, there is a massive responsibility, and it leave the federal government Secretary of State to foreign responsibilities and leave the idea of bringing jobs to Indiana to the IEDC. He is totally out of his lane on this, and I think he needs to be called on it. And there was some puffs of smoke from the Senate and really the committee in the House Ways and Means Committee, the committee members. But the bottom line is stay in your lane. You're responsible for this, not that.
Okay. Casey and I are going to go over later today. I think at 10 o'clock we're going to talk about this. I got a list of questions that we're going to drop off because nobody can get any answers. And the other part of this now is he put out this big, he being Diego, this big press release afterwards. It's the usual, multi-paragraph, doesn't tell you anything, bull crap that he does. But then at the end, in big bold letters, he puts no taxpayer money was used. Private funds were used for this trip. Who paid for it? That's a giant red flag, right? Like somebody paid for you to go. They're not running unless they're running a soup kitchen that I'm not aware of. This India American soup kitchen. Yeah. Somebody paid for you to go, and there's a good chance they wanted something out of it.
Right. And the Secretary of State's office and Diego in particular have to be aware and be knowledgeable of the fact that people are going to ask questions.
Yeah.
And like him or not, Governor Holcomb traveled the world in his 8 years. And it was all transparent.
He told you.
Yes, he told you.
He told you who's giving me the money to go.
And he ran for re-election, won in outstanding fashion, but everybody knew who was contributing money to him and who was contributing money to IEDC. And like it or not, it was just very transparent. And that's what we should demand from the Secretary of State's office.
This is where you come in, because this is what I don't understand. Mm-hmm. And I've told Micah this, and I'm very disappointed in Micah because he's usually a fighter, but he seems to have no want to get to the bottom of this. So you've got Braun, who Braun says Diego's out of bounds, right? Braun says Diego, hey, he shouldn't have been doing that, basically. So you got Braun confirming what we're saying. But neither Braun, nor Micah, nor Daniel Elliott, nor Todd Rokita, nor Elise Nishala, none of these statewide office holders will go over there. All they're doing is walking across the hall and publicly demanding answers. You've got 150 legislators who control his money. They could take every penny from him, and they could take every statutory authority that he has from him, and they don't appear to want to be doing it. You know who's doing it? The radio show. Why is it that the radio show is the only one that seems to give a damn about what this guy's doing, what appears to be highly unethical behavior?
I'm going to get a lot of calls up for this radio show.
Yeah, well, that'd be par for the course every Wednesday, right?
It's that team sport thing. But it's time for the Republican Party to stand up, put your hand up and say stop. Stop with all the hijinks. Stop with everything that makes Abdul report and you report. And it's time to take the reins and tell Diego, tell the Secretary of State that this is not your responsibility, and we want to know. We want the sunshine to come in. We want transparency, and we want to know what happened in India and who paid for it.
I think the interesting thing to note is that you can't even go on the Secretary of State's website and get an APRA request form.
That's public records request.
Yeah, you can't even do it through the chains of that you're supposed to do it through.
Right, and you have FOIA, and it's just really, really confounding in today where you can get responses. There's a counselor over there that will, if somebody at the local level says you can't have a document, then there's an office to go to have the access counselor and the constituent and the office holder to make a decision on if you can have a document. You ought to be able to find out anything in local in any government. There needs to be transparency, and obviously there is not.
Is it wrong that as of right now, because the big rumor is Evan Bayh's son, Bo Bayh, is going to run for Secretary of State. Is it wrong right now that I'm saying if Diego Morales, if the Republicans don't do something about this, that I will do everything in my power to help Bo Bayh be the Secretary of State?
Well, first of all, I the word anticipate comes to mind in anything I do. You got to look in front of your headlights. We are within a year now of candidates filing for office, inside a year, filing for office to run in the 2026 election, primary election, convention, and general election. And the Republicans need to be thinking, is Diego Morales our candidate? Because Bo Bayh will be a candidate for Secretary of State. Secretary of State.
Which we got in the State House happening. This is exactly how his old man became governor.
Yeah, exactly. And his Evan Bayh came out of the wilderness, rescued the Democrat Party, who hadn't had maybe one statewide win, if you will. He came in at tender age of 32 and won election to the Secretary of State's office, and they're going to try to do the same thing with Bo Bayh.
So I can't think of, especially if Braun ends up screwing us on the property tax deal, which I'm not saying he will, but a better way to start taking down the Republican Party, because people will be pissed at Braun, and if Diego's a nominee, then we band together and take down Diego Morales. But they got to do something about it. We got about a minute left here. They got to do something about this guy, right? They're not going to let him be the nominee.
Well, they've got to put forward a candidate who has the roots of the Republican Party, who has, I call it a Micah voter with the convention. I call it a Diego voter, and you have a Dan Elliott voter who is a favorite of mine, and I wanted him to be the lieutenant governor candidate because he knows the delegates. It could very well be that State Treasurer Daniel Elliott could be taking a possible chance to run for Secretary of State next time.
Merritt in the Morning.
Merritt in the Morning.
You had Terry Stacy on. That was a fabulous interview.
She is a sweet woman.
Jim has a very fabulous podcast. You can find it on YouTube and Facebook. Merritt in the Morning. He interviews all sorts of movers and shakers. Our old pal Klopfenstein-Stein.
With Mark James.
Mark James, yeah.
He's a friend of yours.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And he says that publicly.
He
the
does.
voice of the 500.
There are not a whole lot of us.
It's amazing. Yes, you're all in one room together. Also, Jim Merritt on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
You're a national treasure, Jim Merritt. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hammer and Nigel Show, 3:06 this afternoon, keeping our eye on the weather. There might be some tariffs. We're going to have some fun with Jeff Boggs, who's in for Big Nige, 93 WIBC.
Meanwhile, at Xfinity. So, influencer life going well?
Oh, yeah. I'm up to 32 followers.
Oh, that's
something.
Yeah, posting my tap dancing videos is easier than ever because we engineered Xfinity Internet with 99.99% network reliability.
Plus, Xfinity Mobile with Wi-Fi Power Boost gives you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. But wait, tap dancing? You don't tap dance.
Hey, what I lack in skill, I make up with passion.
Do more of what you love and love how fast you do it with Xfinity Internet and mobile. Now through April 17th, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and one unlimited mobile line together for $30 a month for 1 year and save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Savings compared to Verizon 5G Internet plus one unlimited welcome line and AT&T Internet 300 plus one unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Actual speeds vary. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
Beds are us when dreams don't get in. Beds are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 765-545-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to badsareus.com. 765-545-BATH.
Beds are us when dreams don't get in. Beds are us.
Never miss your favorite shows on WIBC. Get your content to go. Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, Tony Kennett, The Gun Guy, Home and Garden. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Turn it up.
Casey, did anyone get you yesterday for April Fools?
Oh, Rob, don't be silly. Trust no one, believe nothing, just like every other day. However, yesterday evening when I was preparing the template for today's show, Jim, the dude, came over and he was very excited because he thought he was going to contribute. And he was like, did you see Tiger Woods tweeted out that he's going to play in the Masters next week? And I looked up at him and I said, really? And he's like, yeah. And I said, oh, that was an April Fool's joke. And he was so bummed out because he was so proud of himself. Because normally he'll bring me things.
Sure.
And I'll say, you're correct, or I know, right?
Yeah.
Because, tries to keep up on the current news with me. And this time he thought he had one. And I said, oh, no, that was an April Fool's joke. So Tiger Woods said, I can't believe I'm saying this, but a few weeks after rupturing my left Achilles, the sleeping in the hyperbaric chamber plus the explosive lifts my doctors and trainers have me ready to play the Masters next week. Can't wait to see y'all on the course. And then a few hours later, he quote tweeted himself, and he said, P.S. April Fools, my Achilles is still a mess.
There was a great one yesterday. So we've talked about this before in Warehouseburg, where I live on the west side, Brownsburg. They can't like get the roads done properly or the sidewalks or whatever. But there's some people there that are still obsessed with this water park or whatever, and
the aquatic center.
And some person did this fabulous website, and they went all out with they have a huge yard, and they did a giant banner that they draped out in their front lawn that said "Coming soon, Brownsburg Water Park," and they clearly have the money to be able to do this. And there were a bunch of people like, "Oh my gosh, what is going on? Where are they putting this water park?" And I had to keep telling people, "Look at this! Like, you got to read this website. Clear, if you put any sort of focus on it, you're going to realize this is a just parody website." But they went all in and got a whole bunch of people in town convinced that the water park
was coming.
Which it may be, but it wasn't through these people.
Right. April Fool's Day to me is just like, you have to double check everything when it's not April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
So we're still doing this? Why are we doing
Well, because we're children. We're a society that behaves totally like children.
I did see that for the 23rd consecutive year, the pimento cheese sandwich at the Masters is going to cost still just $1.50.
The Masters is next week, so you know the rule. Thursday and Friday, I'll be operating at about 25% capacity, which is still better than any other radio broadcaster in the city would do. As Adam Wren from Importantville said, I am the most powerful radio broadcaster in the state of Indiana. Their words, not mine. But even me at 25%, watching the Masters while we're doing this broadcast will be better than what anybody else would be able to provide. So I chose not to take any of the days off. But the Masters, because the Masters owns everything, because it is, I think the U.S. Open is the most important golf tournament in the world. It's a nation's championship. The Masters is certainly, from a TV and media perspective, the biggest spectacle in golf. And the Masters, the Augusta National Golf Club, they're just run by a bunch of super rich dudes. So they control everything. They can do whatever they want. That's why there's very few commercials. There's very few sponsors. And now, to their credit, they have created this robust online viewing experience that is unmatched in all of sports. Well, they give it away. They give it away to the public for free. You can basically see any guy at any time, hit almost any shot. There's a driving range experience. It's phenomenal. It's the best viewing experience in all of sports because you get it for $0.
CBS does not pay to broadcast the tournament.
That's right.
It's an agreement they have with the tournament because the tournament now has full production control over the event.
And they have very strict rules for their broadcasters. I believe this was many, many years ago. A famous commentator made some sort of comment along the lines of talking about the fast speed of the greens, and they said, "Oh boy, they really bikini waxed those greens," and I think they booted him out and didn't let him come back for years.
Never
if they ever
invited him
did.
back.
There's the thing: it's the most exclusive tournament in golf. It's one of the tippy top upper echelon. It's right there with the World Series. It's not to the magnitude of a Super Bowl, but nothing is. But it is the pinnacle of that sport, and the luster and the allure and the people who aren't even golf people who will watch because of the green jacket and the history of the course. And they've done to their credit, they have done a phenomenal job creating Masters Week and making that viewing experience for 4 days unlike anything else in all, not just golf, but in all of sport. And man, I can't wait to half-ass it on Thursday and Friday and get this tournament going, baby.
So Scotty Scheffler, he won his second Masters, and that means that he gets to pick the dinner.
That's right.
That kicks off the event, and he picked a Scotty-style cheeseburger slider.
So Scotty Scheffler is the best player in the world, and he's uber rich, but he lives this like minimalist $5 existence. So I'm not surprised about that at all. That's what he chose to do.
They also have the egg salad sandwich, which is also going to be only $1.50 at the Masters.
Yes.
They've got this full menu. I don't know, a pimento cheese sandwich, an egg salad sandwich. You'd think that they'd have something a little bit more bougie than that.
The podcast, sports betting podcast, we're only doing it once a week now. That comes out tomorrow. I'll have my Masters picks tomorrow.
Yeah.
I know who they are. I feel pretty good about the group that I've got and the reasoning behind them. So I can give them Thursday because I won't be here. Well, I guess it would do it Monday because I won't be here Friday this week.
Right.
So, yeah. So good job of not getting fooled on April Fool's Day. Speaking of fools, Diego Morales, he's a complete fool. And he will not answer questions on what he was doing in India or who paid for him to go to India. So Case and I have decided after the show today, we're going to waltz on over there to the State House and drop off some questions for him. Maybe he'll be there. Maybe we'll get to ask him in person. And so when we come back,
I don't even know if he's in the country.
We'll read those questions that we have for Diego Morales that we are prepared to drop off.
You've prepared an entire list. I got to tell you, I spent some time looking on the Secretary of State's website, and I was trying to find the APRA request, which is the Access to Public Records forms. And you can find them on all the other statewide's website. It's very hard. I'm sure it's there somewhere. They just don't have it labeled broadly.
Well, we'll just take the questions right to him. No doubt he'll be right on answering these questions.
I can't wait to hear what your questions are.
Oh, my goodness.
We'll get to those coming out from 93 WIBC.
Spring is here, and it's time to shake off winter's dust, dirt, and allergens. Hi, this is Denny Smith for Zero Res, and if you're ready for a true spring clean, listen up, because this deal won't last. Right now, get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $119 and $75 off air duct cleaning. That's real savings and the perfect way to refresh your home. Winter leaves behind grime and odors and allergens trapped in your carpets and air ducts. And remember, your air ducts are the lungs of your home. If they're dirty, so is your air. Zero Res's patented ZR water cleans with no soap, no residue, and no harsh chemicals. Just fresh, healthy carpets and air. Beat the spring cleaning rush. Call 317-388-5141 or book online at zeroresindy.com. And don't take my word for it. Just check out 4,900 5-star Google reviews. Call now. Mention WIBC, get 3 rooms cleaned starting at just $119 plus $75 off air duct cleaning. 317-388-5141 or zeroresindy.com.
Of course I love my parents, I really do, but often felt angry with them because I was always screaming so they could hear me on the telephone. All that has changed thanks to the CapTel phone from Relay, Indiana. We're so much better off because now my parents can read what I'm saying on the CapTel caption telephone. Our conversations are pleasant because through voice recognition technology, my words appear to them on an easy-to-read screen right on the telephone. Thanks, Relay Indiana.
Learn more at RelayIndiana.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-687-7979. That's 800-687-7979. 800-687-7979.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recycler Studios, severe weather on the table today in Indiana. What all you need to know about it. Tensions and a viral video. What Indiana Senator Jim Banks had to say about the way he was portrayed in it, and what could mean a higher power bill for you. Those stories and much more coming up after Fox News on 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis, and it's now 10 o'clock.
Subtraction before liberation. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. There are more losses on Wall Street ahead of the new tariffs on more imports President Trump will announce this afternoon on what he calls Liberation Day. The Dow down 182 points.
But the White House has said anyone that's been spooked by what they've seen with the jitteriness in the stock market, that this policy is ultimately going to return production to America, generate more American jobs, and also more tax revenue.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich says at the White House the president will target countries that tariff American exports.
There are several unknowns, including how the White House plans to structure this.
All the anger at Elon Musk over his leading Doge efforts to slash federal jobs and spending is hurting Tesla, the automaker he's CEO of. Reports that sales dropped 13% in the first quarter amid destructive protests that Musk tells Fox is domestic terrorism.
People have burned cars. They've fired bullets into dealerships. They've scratched swastikas into Teslas of the innocent people that they're just going about their lives. They've done nothing wrong. And Tesla's done nothing wrong as a company.
A conservative that Elon Musk spent millions supporting in Wisconsin, Brad Schimmel, lost a state Supreme Court election.
I can't thank you enough for everything you did to try to make this a success, but it just didn't work.
Judge Susan Crawford won, keeping a liberal-leaning balance on Wisconsin's high court. But in Florida, 2 Republicans won special elections, giving the GOP a slightly bigger House majority. Both were backed by President Trump.
And now it's incumbent upon me over the next 2 years to show you that I am worthy of that trust.
Randy Fine and Jimmy Patronis both won by double digits in very Republican districts in Florida, despite being outspent by their Democratic challengers. A legal victory for New York City Mayor Eric Adams. A federal judge has just allowed the Justice Department to drop a corruption criminal case against the Democrat, which has angered other Democrats who claim Mayor Adams cooperated with Trump immigration raids to get the charges dismissed. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
It's supposed to be around all the time today. Cloudy and 56 degrees in the Circle City, but it feels like 46. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Here's what to expect weather-wise in Indiana.
This morning, we have some scattered showers and thunderstorms moving through. These will not be severe. That could produce some gusty winds, heavy rain, maybe even some small hail.
Most of the state's under a wind advisory. Chad Swain with the National Weather Service says damaging winds, tornadoes, and heavy rain are all the threats you could get later this afternoon, starting at about 3 o'clock.
You probably deserved it. I deserved it.
A viral video showing Indiana Senator Jim Banks telling a worker fired by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services that he probably deserved it because he appears to be a clown. Here's what Banks had to say about the incident this morning.
I have no patience for left-wing activists who lost their woke, bloated government job that the taxpayers were paying for, that are chasing congressmen and senators around the Capitol and others trying to complain about it.
Max Schroeder took the video and is among more than 30,000 federal employees who have lost their jobs because of cuts made by DOGE. You could get a higher power bill with some of the money going to help pay for an experimental technology to generate power. Chris Davis explains.
Small nuclear reactors, the experiment that could eventually bring power bills
down. But before that happens, you may be asked to bear some of the costs of that program.
As a ratepayer, I couldn't imagine paying my bill and then, the next month seeing $150, $200 increase.
Representative Alex Burton of Evansville in a House committee hearing.
Is there something that to make sure that ratepayers who may take on this burden could have some sort of warning?
At least 2 bills are being considered to move that program forward. Chris Davis, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A bill sponsored by State Senator Brian Buchanan of Lebanon that would bolster the relationship between Indiana and Ireland passed the Senate on Tuesday. It would establish the Indiana-Ireland Trade Commission in order to increase trade and investment between the Hoosier State and Ireland. And because the bill was amended in the Senate, it now goes back to the House for further consideration. To get ready for major concert season, Live Nation is now hiring for multiple positions at its central Indiana venues, including Ruoff Music Center in Noblesville, Everwise Amphitheater at White River State Park, and Old National Center in downtown Indy. The positions are for event staff, maintenance, night of show and day crew, facilities, VIP, venue merchandise, sustainability, and more. I'm John Herrick on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. It's 10:04. Kendall and Casey coming back in 1 minute.
The agenda is taking shape.
Since Inauguration Day.
From education to energy.
We will drill, baby, drill.
From the economy to the military.
We will again build the strongest military the world has ever seen.
Watch it unfold day by day.
My first day back.
First 100 days.
It's a tough job, but I've had a lot of tough jobs.
Follow the first 100 days on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
The April 15th deadline to file the FAFSA is fast approaching. When you complete the free application for federal student aid, you help your child access Indiana's nearly $400 million in financial aid, including programs like the 21st Century Scholarship. It also determines your student's eligibility for federal grants and scholarships for college or certificate programs. Visit studentaid.gov to get started. For complete information, go to learnmoreindiana.org/FAFSA. Paid for by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Well, we're going on a little trip when we get done with the show today.
Your camera ready today, too. I like it.
I did not wear my usual attire. My wife, always very suspicious when I wear clothes that fit. She's like, what are you doing? So I'm going on a trip with Casey.
Gonna go over to the State House and see if we can get some answers from Diego Morales, Secretary of State.
That's correct. So when we are done with the show today, Casey and I are going to saunter on over to the State House, and we are going to drop off a list of questions that we're about to read to you on this award-winning program to be hand-delivered to the Indiana Secretary of State about his, I guess, they're saying privately funded trip to India, because as pathetic as this is, and I'm going to say it out loud, but it's the reality of it, not a single solitary member of the General Assembly, 150 of them, well, making $70,000 a year or more in most cases, nor any of the statewide office holders, Braun, Micah, Rokita, Elise Nishala, Daniel Elliott, all of those people, many of them nearing 200,000 plus in terms of salary, they can't be bothered to walk over literally across the hall and demand the answers. So, as usual, the radio show will do it, since your elected officials are too lazy, pathetic, and unmotivated to try to get answers for you.
Yeah, so this is your Secretary of State who is on a economic development trip to India.
Is he still there?
Well,
I thought he was back.
He was.
Ah, okay.
He was there, and he was with a guy who was boasting about selling EB-5 visa access, and nobody seems curious about this at all.
Well, and this is the very frustrating thing, and I got into this with Micah yesterday when he was on our show. Why won't, if you're Micah, why won't you walk over there and demand the answers? Who paid for the trip, right? We'll read the questions here. There's no gotcha questions. These are very basic things. If you're Todd Houston, the Speaker of the House, Why won't you demand the answers? You fund this guy's budget. You know what he is. Everybody in that building knows what a complete scumbag Diego Morales is, and yet nobody is doing anything about it. If you're Jeff Thompson, the head of Ways and Means, if you're Rod Bray, if you're Travis Holdman, if you're any of these people, why is no one saying, we are not giving you any money until you answer these very pertinent questions? We are not. They know everybody's aware of what's going on. They know how shady it looks that the Secretary of State disappears for upwards of 10 days. I don't even know exactly how many days he was over there. And then is described as being on an economic development mission, blows off his budget hearing, by the way, which is his number one job, is to fund and secure funding for the office and ensure the office continues to run, blows that off for a thing that is not even his job, which is economic development. And then it turns out he's in India with a guy who, state documents show the guy has contracts with Diego's office totaling upwards of $80,000.
His senior advisor.
Who now is listed as a senior advisor. That's a giant red flag. That a guy's a senior advisor to an office he has contracts with. Oh, and by the way, that same guy, Raju Chintala, is on Facebook boasting, bragging, promoting, whatever word you want to use, that he's in India selling access to these EB-5 visas. And the radio show, the midday show on WIBC, is the only people who care enough to try to get answers on this. Why are these lawmakers, who it's their job, why aren't they doing it?
So Governor Mike Braun said that that trip was possibly overstepping his responsibilities as Secretary of State.
Yeah, unless Braun told him to go or the IEDC told him to go. And it doesn't appear that that's the case because there's no letter that's been produced from Diego saying that. What we know is he's saying it's privately funded, and we know you were over there with a guy who is talking about how he's selling access to visas in this country. Gee, you don't have to be an Einstein or a Mensa member to start maybe connecting some dots and going, ooh, that's concerning to us.
Yeah, so he's definitely not providing any details on who paid for his trip, how it was arranged, the stops that they made. So we're going to ask the questions.
And think about what we have uncovered just during this legislative session, because we uncovered this, right? We uncovered where he was, who he was with. We broke these stories, the contract, plural, I guess you would say, that Raju has with the, like, we have done all of that. We did the Scott Baldwin stuff with this guy who's voting on local government tax policy, who's running a company who's making huge money off of these local governments. Look at these people. Look at these people that are making decisions that are lording over you. Look at how they are presenting themselves. Look at how they are conducting themselves. This is just the tip of the iceberg of stuff that we're able to uncover.
So Morales was in India, and part of the trip included speaking events, and he was listed as the Secretary of State of Indiana. I'm really curious if he got paid for speaking at those events.
Great question. And the Star reported that where Raju, his buddy, his senior advisor, is whatever you want to call him, it was talking about he was going to be selling these EB-5 visas.
Yeah.
That is the same. The Star reported that Diego met with the mayor of that place. So you've got Diego, according to the Star, meeting with the mayor of the place where this Raju dude says he's going to be selling EB-5 visas. Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Boy, that's wild, isn't it? So here's the questions that we are going to drop off, because we're not trying to sandbag anybody. We're not playing any gotcha. We're just doing the work because your elected officials will not do it. So as usual, we'll raise our hand and say, we'll do it for no money. You're paying these people all this money. They don't give a damn. How is that possible that they don't care? But regardless, they don't. All right. So I wrote a little letter at the beginning. I think he knows who we are, but just in case.
He has been in here.
Well, that's true.
We did interview him before he became Secretary of State.
That's right. And
we warned everybody then, by the way.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Casey. That's very important that we warned you. We warned you people before voting for him. We warned before at the convention. We warned in the general. We did everything we could, and it's now all playing out right in front of you. But here's the letter. All right. Dear Diego, the Kendall and Casey show, 9 to noon, 93.1 WIBC, is seeking clarification on numerous concerns involving your recent trip to India. As we are sure you are aware of the red flags your trip has created, You can put many of them to bed by answering the questions below. You may reach us at rob@wibc.com, casey@wibc.com, or you can provide the answers verbally at 317-684-8444. So we're giving him lots of options, right? He can't say,
making it easy.
Well, my internet was down that day. I couldn't answer the questions. All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
And Casey, by the way, we have not dropped these off yet. So if any of these seem out of line, you think, oh, I'm not comfortable asking this question, you pipe right up and
there's
say.
time to edit.
Also, if you would like to play along or you would like to see the questions, I have posted them at Rob M. Kendall on Twitter. You can currently see them at Rob M. Kendall on Twitter.
Okay. Did you tag him?
No. I tagged you.
Okay.
Hey, he'll know. Trust me. He's very aware that we're having this conversation.
Sure. And if you were to tag him, would you pick his campaign account or his Secretary of State account? I'm just curious. Because if you go to, the Indiana State website, in.gov, and you go to his links, it's his campaign accounts, not his Secretary of State accounts. But anyway, go ahead.
All right. How long were you in India?
Mm-hmm.
Who did you travel to India with? Who did you stay in India? Who did you stay with in India?
Mm-hmm.
Where did you stay in India? Who paid for your flights? Who paid for your living arrangements? Who paid for your meals? Were you financially compensated for your trip?
Good one.
Did anyone from the Indiana Economic Development Commission approve of this trip? Did anyone from the executive branch or the General Assembly approve of this trip? Who among your staff knew of your whereabouts? Did you travel with Raju Chintala to India or during your time in India? Were you aware he was posting on Facebook that he was selling access to EB-5 visas while there? Did you at any time help Raju Chintala or anyone connected with him sell or promote the sale of EB-5 visas? Who can provide detailed whereabouts/meetings during your time there? Are you willing to release all correspondence with yourself and Mr. Chintala during the month of March? How many contracts do companies Mr. Chintala is associated with have with the Secretary of State's office? What services do those companies provide for your office? What is the compensation those companies receive? And can you confirm Mr. Chintala is a, quote, senior advisor to your office? What does that title entail?
What does that title entail? What does it mean to be a senior advisor?
Again, why are we the ones asking this? Why are we the ones having to do this? Why are we the ones having to take time out of our day to go over there and do this? Why doesn't any member, the Democrats, I know there's only like 6 of you over there, but why wouldn't one of the Democrats want to do this? You know this guy melts like the Wicked Witch of the West anytime somebody grills him. Look at how he melted down in front of Ed Delaney. That was just questions about his employing his brother-in-law and no-bid contracts.
Do you think that maybe they're afraid to start asking questions?
Why would Braun be afraid to demand these answers? What does Mike Braun have to fear? And by the way, Micah, maybe instead of fighting with left-wing activists down in Franklin, maybe you should do this. This is maybe a better use of your time because this is actual public policy that's being affected. Hey, Daniel Elliott, you're always talking about trying to save the state money. Why don't we find out what this guy was doing and whose money he was spending and how maybe it could be tied into the state? Oh, hey, Elise Nishala, you're the state comptroller. You're supposed to be handling our funds, overseeing our money. Again, same thing as Daniel Elliott. Why don't you waltz your backside over there and find out what state resources were involved with this, if any? Oh, Todd Rokita, man of the law, big tough guy, right? Loves to fight with the lefties all the time. Hey, maybe we should just tell Rokita that that abortion doctor was involved. And boy, he'll run on Fox News for that. What do we have to do to get anyone over there to care about what's taking place here?
So Morales' office has said that he stands by all of his financial decisions made by his office. Keep in mind that his brother-in-law has a 6-figure position. And do you remember when Morales' office awarded those 80 bonuses to all of those people on his staff? They got between $500 and $12,000 bonuses.
Oh, yes.
They were averaging nearly $5,000 per employee. His brother-in-law received that over $12,000 bonus. And Diego Morales, though, stands by all the financial decisions that have been made by his office. So let's just see about the financial decisions made on his trip to India.
Yeah, so we'll go over We'll film the event for everyone, and Casey will do some magic, and then we'll have a lovely little video.
What are the chances that he's in his
there's no way.
office?
No, there's no way.
He's not going to come out.
No, absolutely not. But we're not stopping, Diego. We are not stopping. We will get the information eventually. I think we've proven by now that once we tell you we're going to do something, we follow through on it. So we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere.
You know what? I think...
And by the way, screw all you elected officials who refuse to raise a hand to help us.
I think we're really missing it because you know when we really should be going to the State House? Not at noon when we get off the air, but in the morning.
Indiana Secretary of State Diego Morales here, starting my day bright and early in our beautiful State House. Remember, our doors at the Secretary of State's office open at 7 a.m.
See, that's when we need to go. 7 a.m. Bright and early. 7 a.m., not noon.
This guy, I hate our government so much. I can't even describe the level that I just loathe these people.
Well, we'll try to get some accountability and see if we can come up with some transparency when we go over there. You are listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Listen up, fellow Gen Xers. Elizabeth Banks here. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the way. We've done this before. Music videos, fanny packs, even the World Wide Web. Let's do it again and get vaccinated, because we're at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Gen X, this is our shot. Visit vaxassist.com and schedule a vaccine today. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Every day we knock on doors, tell people how they can cut their power bill in half. And get this, most don't even listen. So instead of walking miles knocking on doors, we figured, why not just buy a radio commercial? Look, we get it. Going solar sounds too good to be true. $0 down, 50% off your electric bill, never worrying about rate hikes. Sounds too good to be true, right? But here's the thing, it's not. It's just math. You already pay for electricity every month. Why not pay less and own your power? Most people still ignore this, but not you, right? You're smarter than that. So do what the smart people do. Get a free quote at SaveWithSolarNow.com. It takes 2 minutes, costs you nothing, and might just save you thousands of dollars. See for yourself at SaveWithSolarNow.com.
Trust employee owned. B-Windows extending our employee discount to you. Up to 55% off, plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Trust your home to be.
From the moment our eyes met, I knew it was love at first sight. She had such a playful sense of humor. And when I look in that sparkle in her eyes, I just melt. My folks always said to find the girl I can't live without. And my heart says she's the one. So I'm going to Pierce Jewelers in Carmel for that perfect diamond engagement ring. Nothing says I love you more than an engagement ring from Pierce Jewelers. She pierced my heart. Now I'm going to pierce hers. Shop local. Shop smart. Shop Pierce Jewelers.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
Drama on the internet. It gets your attention every single time, doesn't it?
Are we going to do this story?
Yeah.
This is crazy. So I saw this yesterday. Full disclosure, this is my fault. If this is the worst story ever, it's my fault. I sent it to Casey because I said, I think the woman is
in the wrong.
Well, yeah, I think she's mad at the wrong guy. I mean, she's mad at both guys. But the one guy I've kind of felt bad for, knowing what I know on the peripheral from, because I'm just going off the video, that it seems like he was not, look, he's not involved in that relationship.
Right.
He had his own relationship, but he's minding his own business in his own home. And if the guy you're in the sack ski with is not loyal, that's not the other person's problem. That's a you problem. So, okay. So, Kev, I hope you bleeped this because this is horrifically profanity laced, but we wanted to give the audience a little taste of this. So this woman,
she's pregnant.
She said she was.
Well, correct.
We don't ever see her. She's never actually on the camera.
Right.
She is convinced her boyfriend, I don't even think he's her husband. I think they have like multiple children together, but they're not married. Okay, giant red flag
Baby
right there,
daddy.
right? Like, I think after the first kid, you got to decide, are we doing this or are we not doing this? But she's supposedly got several children with this guy. She's convinced he's cheating on her, and so she follows him. I don't know if she put a tracker on his car or whatever, but she follows him and ends up at this house. It's a stranger's house. She goes up, whacks
while filming.
She's filming the whole thing. Whacks on the door. Some strange man comes to the door. She initially doesn't show his face. He looks like he's got like a long T-shirt on with no underwear or whatever. You can't really tell. And she's kind of confused, befuddled.
Well, she thinks that she's going to the stranger's house expecting to find her guy with another woman.
Right. But then she starts putting the pieces together, and then she starts saying, oh my gosh, he is cheating on me, but not with a woman. He's cheating on me with a man. And then she proceeds to go ballistic and starts rapping on the door again. The boyfriend comes out. She starts giving him the business, which is totally fine, right? Like, that's whatever. That's your thing. Give him the business, kick him out. All she's saying, all the things. But then she goes back and starts getting into it with the guy whose house it is, who has nothing to do with any of this. I mean, obviously, he's allegedly engaged in some sort of interaction with this guy, but he's minding his own business in his own home. You're not even married to this guy. And now this guy, because this video goes viral, he's all over the TV, the internet. Everybody sees him. And it's like, lady, you needed to keep your eye on the guy who is actually cheating on you. This guy doesn't know you, and he owes you nothing.
Okay, and eventually the woman claims that she got fired because of all of the attention this video received.
Okay, so should we play some of it? Can we play some of it?
Fingers crossed.
Okay, very good.
Whose house is this, bro? What the?
She's rapping on the door.
Hi, is Brian here? Who's?
So this other guy's answered the door that she doesn't know.
I don't know Brian. That's my boyfriend. He's here and he needs to come out right now, or I'm calling the police.
You can't call the police. It's in my house. Bye.
Okay, pause. So right now, I think the guy gave a good response. Like, call the police, lady. This is my home.
Right.
I'm entitled to have whoever I want in my home as long as everyone's consenting. It's not whether you or me or whatever agree with the behavior that's taking place. You're going to call and say what? Two consenting adults are sitting in a house together?
Exactly.
All right, so far I think the guy's handled it appropriately. He's like, I don't know you, lady. Get off my lawn. Close the door. Okay, very good. Go.
Dude. Holy
Okay, now she's getting obsessive, right? Like he's asked you to leave.
Brian, you're a gay man. He's cheating on me with a gay. You're cheating on me with that man, Brian? Are you
not, bro?
What the? Who is that?
Okay, this is
Who
the boyfriend.
That?
It's my friend from gaming, bro.
You just
guy? No. So he's denying it. The guy answered
we're
like in
just
a
friends.
long shirt. Okay, and he's trying to say they're gaming together.
Sure.
Okay, very good.
That guy?
No, it's my friend from
You
game.
Guy.
No, that's my
You
friend
just
from Xbox.
Oh my God, Brian! You just.
That's my friend from
Why
Xbox.
weren't you answering me?
Because I didn't have my phone on me. We were playing Xbox, bro. That's my friend from Xbox. Can you please just leave me alone?
Why does he have no pants on? You were just him.
No, I wasn't. That was my from Xbox.
You're cheating on me while I'm pregnant.
Oh, just go.
I'm calling the police. You're gone. You're getting
Can we
evicted.
go?
You were just cheating on me with a man.
No, I wasn't.
You were just. This is going on Facebook. That man had no pants on. That's all on video.
No.
Oh yes, it is. You're cheating on me with a man.
Fine, whatever, man. Can we go?
You are done.
Okay. All right. So now, you're totally entitled to be mad at him, throw the book at him, get out of my life, whatever. No problem. But now you should be done because he gets in the car and pulls away.
Yeah.
Now the thing should be over. And this is where I pose the question to you. I get that she's mad, but I feel like she was totally out of line because the guy in the house is still in the house minding his own business.
Right. That's his place.
He's entitled to do whatever he wants.
This is the relationship she's having is with the gamer, the boyfriend.
Right.
Not the other guy.
By the way, calling the mother of your children bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
She seems nice.
All right, so now it should be done. He has fled the scene. She can follow him. She
Right.
can whatever.
They can take their argument off site.
Oh, very good. Okay, go.
You just my boyfriend?
No, I did not, okay?
He you? What? No, what happened? Tell me what happened. I'm pregnant. We have 3 kids.
Not a thing happened here, okay? He's a friend. Screw him.
Who are you?
I'm going to call the police.
So
Call the
he's
police.
telling her to get off the lawn. He's
Call the
walking
police.
towards her because he knows she's filming him. She gets in her car, and then he goes to the car with her, and I don't know what happens after that. That's when it cuts off. But I just posed the question to you. I said, I'm watching this, and I'm thinking, I totally get her outrage, 100%. And I get that, hey, this guy is still there, but you actually have no right to be there acting like that on his property because he didn't do anything to you.
No, he didn't. But I mean, obviously, she's being emotional, and you do things out of emotion that maybe you shouldn't be
but
doing.
I felt bad for this guy because he's now internet famous. And maybe he didn't want everybody to know about that, about him.
Right.
You know, I don't, even if he did it, I don't know.
So was the boyfriend actually cheating? Who knows the truth? It's out there somewhere. Maybe they were just playing Xbox. Maybe he was just taking a break from her. But, you know, if you're to the point where you are following your boyfriend, tracking him down because you're suspecting something's going on.
Yeah.
Well, that's already the issue right there. And he's got this friend, this relationship with this other person that you don't know about.
That's correct.
That's also a red flag. So,
Herrick, what do you think? Your voice of reason.
Is she just looking for the truth? Is she looking for...
No, it's all messed up, if you want me to be honest.
That's a real newsy take.
It's all messed up.
What is not messed up is the news with John Herrick.
That's just one toxic relationship. And John's up next. It's 93 WIBC.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Something they've been monitoring closely since Sunday. Nothing on radar at the moment. 57 degrees in downtown Indy, but it feels like 47 and most of the state's under a wind advisory. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 10:31. Keep an eye on the sky. That is the advice this morning from the National Weather Service, where Andrew White is a meteorologist.
Pretty widespread potential for severe weather. All hazards are definitely on the table between hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes.
And he says the southwest portions of Indiana face the greatest possibility of seeing tornadoes this evening. The Trump administration has frozen more than $27 million in Title 10 funding to Planned Parenthood clinics, potentially affecting more than 1 million people seeking reproductive health care. That does affect Planned Parenthood clinics in Indiana. A rally over this is happening at the Supreme Court this morning. You've probably seen the video of Indiana Republican Senator Jim Banks calling a fired federal worker a clown on social media from Tuesday. Banks says he's glad that President Trump and Elon Musk fired people like this man.
It was a group of instigators, left-wing activists that were probably coordinated. By the way, they're there every day. This isn't an isolated incident. They're there every day expressing their entitlement to their government job.
He says this whole effort shows how serious the president is about cutting our tax dollars. And an actor, you may know well from the movie Top Gun.
Who's the best pilot? No, I think I can figure that one out on my own. I heard that about you. You like to work alone.
Has died. Val Kilmer passed away at the age of 65 on Tuesday. He had been battling throat cancer since 2014. His other acting credits include Top Gun Maverick, Batman Forever, Heat, and Tombstone, among other things. I'm John Herrick, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Life Church. Easter season. We're in April. What are we? 18 days away. Boy, that'll be here before you know it. And this Easter season, maybe you're feeling called to something different, something new, a new church home, a first church home, whatever it is, consider checking out Life Church. It's a place we call home. We love Life Church. great sense of community there. You're so much more than just a number. You're an individual, and they would love the opportunity to meet and welcome you and your family. Campuses all across central Indiana, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. Great online services. Learn more about everything online, lifechurchin.com.
If you suffer from burning, tingling, or numbness, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Matt Schulke, chiropractic neurologist and board certified in neuropathy. What is neuropathy?
Neuropathy is nerve damage in the feet or hands.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
Absolutely, and we get amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, pain, or balance issues, call Dr. Schulke today for a free nerve damage screening. This screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for their specialized treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Simply call 463-400-3338. Act now. Call 463-400-3338 for your free nerve damage screening. 463-400-3338.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present voicemails.
317-684-8444. That is the phone number. By the way, that's the same phone number that we have given Diego Morales, or we will give Diego Morales.
You know, one of the great things
you can call in, answer some questions.
You can watch us on the YouTube feed. You just put Kendall and Casey in your YouTube browser. And the cool thing about the YouTube feed is you don't have to watch it in real time. You can be 5 minutes behind everybody else. You can tune in late and you can catch up and whatever. And
you can watch it on a different day.
One of my favorite things is during the course of the show, somebody will be like 5 minutes behind and they'll make a comment about whatever it is we just said that's totally just completely out of context. Like there's no rhyme or reason for the thing that we're doing. But then it dawns on you like, what were we talking about? Where is that person in our show? And like just randomly, Eric in the YouTube chat amongst all this commentary, because we just played that video of that woman who thought her man was cheating on her with a woman, and it turned out he was cheating on her with a man, and all these people are making all these comments, and then just randomly, is Diego required by law to file any kind of official expense report for that trip?
Back to that.
Anyway, what's going on with the voicemails? What's
okay,
happening?
We've got a phone call, and this one's a little bit longer than one we would normally play, but she wants to talk about property tax cards.
Hey, Rob. Hey, Casey. I was just listening to the podcast of your show from today, April 1st, and I had listened to Governor Braun's interview with Hammer, and my blood just boils. You're right, of course, you're right. The whole system is broken, right down to the way assessments are given to homeowners and property owners. You know, once a year you get in the mail numbers on a page that say, this is what we think your home is worth. If you think we're wrong, we invite you to come prove us wrong. But we're not going to show our math. We're not going to tell you how we came up with this amount. We're just going to say, this is what we think your home is worth. But the underlying data on the property card could be wildly incorrect. And by and large, homeowners don't even know to look at it and to verify that it's correct. I've seen homeowners, when I look at their property card, that they have a whole second story on their house that the assessor has, and it's incorrect because there's a loft, and so there's not a whole second story. I had one recently where the county for probably 40 years has been charging a homeowner for twice the lot size that they actually own. So there was no way, and they told us, well, there's just nothing we can do about it. We can't change it. We can't fix it. We can't refund you any money. You're just out of luck. But nobody knows this because they aren't getting their property cards. They aren't being told how much what their assessment is based upon, and they don't have any way or any education or knowledge base to verify what they're being assessed for. So anyway, sorry, I'm my blood has been boiling, and it's a long message. And I hope you guys have a great day.
Don't you love the answer is always, there's nothing we can do about it. Does that answer work for you? Why didn't you pay your bill? There's nothing we can do about it.
Well,
Nothing.
and her answer, or her story, is what we've been saying on the show. Look, we've had multiple either assessors. We had the Tippecanoe County assessor come on. I've read many correspondence I've had with people who work in assessors' offices, which just say the system is broken.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I feel bad that they make these county assessors out to be the villains, which is what these lawmakers do best. They pass it on to somebody else, and the whole system is broke. The system needs torn down. Whatever they come up with, whatever convoluted thing they're going to come up with now, what's left of Senate Bill 1 or House Bill 1402 or whatever they're going to call it, it's not going to fix this. It's not going to fix what she's going through. Local government, there's too many of them, and there's too many of them who don't do anything. Townships and fire territories, looking at you, okay? That there is, and the DLGF laid out, by the way, these fire territories are the new thing people need to be paying attention to, because DLGF laid out in that 1402 hearing exactly how much these fire territories are causing your taxes to go up. Don't take my word for it. They said it in the hearing. You heard it. I heard it. Everybody heard it. These fire territories, it's the way these fire union guys have figured out a way where they can basically have an unlimited revenue source. And they're bragging about it. They're bragging about it when they're passing these, when they're strong-arming these local municipalities to get into these fire territories, and they know, and I'm not indicting firemen, right? I'm not doing that, or women. I'm not doing that. But what I'm saying is, when you're giddy about these, when I'm seeing these correspondence from some of these union guys, the union bosses, and they're giddy about these fire territories being formed, they're not doing it because the fire protection is going to get so much better. They're doing it because now they have taxing authority. Now they can get into the property tax pie. Now they can drive the property taxes up, and there's less accountability because they're a part of the pie. They're part of the equation. This is a broken system. The townships are, for the most part, useless. They're, for the most part, useless. There's no reason for many of them to exist. And until you tear the whole system down, which we're not even getting into what she's talking about, which is you're getting taxed based on what some other guy maybe sells his home for, and then trying to get the information on that is like pulling teeth. This is unsustainable, and yet, other than maybe kind of brawn, nobody down there really seems to care much about it.
Somebody said when we go over and drop off the questions for Diego Morales, Secretary of State, we should just swing by the governor's office and see if he has any answers on property taxes.
You know what
we're just going to hang out there.
Seriously, you know what we ought to do? We ought to print multiple copies of the letter.
Drop them off at all their offices.
At all the statewide offices and say, will you find the answers to these questions for us?
It's not a bad idea.
No, we totally ought to do that.
Yeah.
And
okay.
we'll see who.
So we will be swinging by.
Yeah, see who will step up and say, yes, I will get the answers from these questions.
Okay, another phone call. This one also about property taxes.
Hey guys, this is Michael calling from my house. I've been here 17 years, same house, same mortgage. 17 years ago, my property taxes equaled 1 monthly mortgage payment. They now equal 4.5 monthly payments. So my property taxes have gone up 4.25 times in 17 years, and it's the exact same house. So that's my riff on where we are in property taxes. These cowards.
So is he getting 4.25 times better government?
And you hit the nail on the head, because the excuse from the local governments is always inflation, right? Well, inflation. Well, he said he's been in his home 17 years. Things are not 4.25 times more expensive than they were 17 years ago. They are more expensive, but not anywhere near, for most things, 4.25 times. The government, because of this convoluted system, has far outpaced. And by the way, think about when he started, if the math lines up, he started in a pre-property tax cap era. So think about, the property taxes are so out of control now, he's paying 4.25 times what he was paying before property tax caps.
That's with the cap.
Which was supposed to protect this stuff from happening. So that's a perfect phone call, Casey.
You had an issue with your paycheck.
I'm still, I think, having it. I hope to get it resolved today.
Okay, we did get a few phone calls about that.
Oh.
Some people wanted to weigh in. Here's the first one.
Hello, this is Bob. I'm listening to your show on March 31st about the problem you're having with paychecks. you're dealing with two of the worst possible departments in the organization, the accounting department and the human resources department. Neither one of them care anything about the employees. Their only objective is to screw the employees so they make the corporation look better. But relative to your problem, I would do this simple thing. I would send the text to the top man in the organization in the accounting department. And don't be nasty, be very nice, and just tell him that so-and-so has tried to help you, but nothing's happening, and you're getting low on money. You're tired of dumpster diving. Okay, have a good day.
Do you have the phone number of the top man in the accounting department that you can text?
The problem is the top man is half a country away. So, the cost it would take me to go there is not what I'm missing in my pay. Now, I thought the HR people were supposed to be on my side. I thought they were supposed to be my advocate. Is that not true? That sounded like that
not
guy
according
said.
to that guy.
Huh.
One more phone call about this topic.
Well, Rob, this is your friendly neighborhood grammar and pronunciation Nazi, and I'm terribly sorry to hear that you've had payroll issues. And you've posed the question, am I being a jerk? No, over this, you are not being a jerk. That does not mean that you're not a jerk. That just means you're not being one over this. I wish you luck, because I know how frustrating that can be. But just to clarify, yes, you're a jerk. Hi, Casey. See you later. Bye.
So here's
he wanted to clarify.
Here's the update with the pay. Now, keep in mind, this is if you missed it. My pay. This has been a week and a half ago now. Paycheck appeared to be incorrect.
Right.
Sent an email. Didn't get a response.
Right.
Sent another email. Finally got a response. I think even one of our bosses went up to the 5th floor looking for this person. Finally got, okay, I'll look into it. Day went by, no response. Sent another email. I talked to so-and-so, and I'm waiting to hear back from them. Okay, fine. Weekend comes, no response. Email the person again on Monday. So now it's been a week, right? Email the person. They're out of the office on spring break.
Right.
So now I email 2 other people. Somebody finally gets back to me, says, I'm sorry, this person was very polite and nice. I'm very sorry you're going through this. Oh, by the way, I went up to the 5th floor, and somebody who's not even their job helped me. They took a lot of interest in my thing and said, email these people, maybe they'll help you. So one person finally got back to me. They were very polite and nice. Another person from payroll finally got back to me, said, we'll look into it, get back to you. They get back to me. Again, it was like, I don't know if Jeff Thompson from House Ways and Means crafted this email because it was in some sort of language. I was expecting like Egyptian hieroglyphics, a cat and a moon. And so I said, okay. And they always like, at the end, is there anything about this you don't understand? Yes, everything. I don't understand any of this.
All of the above.
So then I said, well, okay. I sent the person an email. They were very nice. I said, I'd like to call you today so I can maybe verbally, this will help me understand what's going on. Yeah, I won't be here today. You can call me tomorrow. So today is tomorrow.
Oh.
So after we go
to the State House,
go present our letter to Scammers R Us over there, then I'll
you've got a busy day planned.
I'll call her and try to find out what's going on.
I hope you get all the transparency you're looking for. You're asking a lot of tough questions today, Rob Kendall. Hammer's going to join us next. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show 3:06 this afternoon, keeping our eye on the weather. There might be some tariffs. We're going to have some fun with Jeff Boggs, who's in for Big Nige, 93 WIBC.
Looking for a great deal on a new Lincoln? Come to Tom Roush Lincoln. Select 2024 Lincoln Navigators, now $15,000 off, and get 0% for 72 months. How about an all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus, now $6,000 off with rates starting at 4.9% for 60 months. We look forward to seeing you at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Lincoln Navigator MSRP 104,825. Lincoln Nautilus MSRP 57,785. Offers good through April 30th, 2025. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-822-1598. 800-822-1598. 800-822-1598.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group. This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You know exactly why you need to remodel that kitchen of yours. The space, it's outdated. You can't move around like you used to. It doesn't work like it needs to. You want to entertain and you want to improve your quality of life. This can happen, just not with the kitchen you have. You need to call Booher Remodeling. B-O-O-H-E-R. BooherRemodeling.com. They can take that old kitchen that's deteriorating and broken down and turn it into something that works for you and your family. Their 5-step design process from start to finish, the consultation, the preliminary design, the design development, getting all the documents together, and then getting it done. The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in Central Indiana. Booher Remodeling will guide you through the entire process, starting with the free initial consultation, and they stand behind their work with a 2-year workmanship guarantee. Create that new kitchen. Design experts can use an existing layout or begin completely from scratch. Talk to Booher Remodeling today. B-O-O-H-E-R. BooherRemodeling.com. That's BooherRemodeling.com.
Indiana patients rely on many types of pharmacies to access their medications and critical healthcare services. But a proposal being considered in the Indiana legislature called SB 140 would disrupt access to medications for Indiana patients. SB 140 would impose government mandates blocking access to critical pharmacy options and services in Indiana. Lost access to pharmacy options would directly harm many of Indiana's most vulnerable patients, including patients fighting cancer and heart disease, many of whom rely on specialty pharmacies for their care. SB 140 would even hike costs for Indiana patients by imposing a $10 tax on every prescription filled in the state. That would often fall directly on the patient. Tell your state legislator, protect access to medications, reject higher costs. Put Indiana patients first by voting no on SB 140, paid for by conservatives for lower healthcare costs.
Now that spring is here, storms can happen at any time. WIBC will alert you to severe weather from the Chapman Heating Storm Desk. For all your heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and drains, call the man for all seasons. Chapman. Go to chapmanheating.com.
Happy Liberation Day. Jason Hammer in the studio from the #1 rated Hammer and Nigel show. Are you celebrating Liberation Day?
Liberation Day. I thought you said it was
Not
Libations
Libation Day.
Damn it. I've been drinking since 9.
Totally different holiday.
Man, I missed the boat on that. Are we tariffing?
Yeah.
Is that the proper term?
Is that a verb?
I want to make sure that I use the proper grammar because I got a very sternly worded letter sent to me yesterday. Pat Sullivan taking some shrapnel on that too.
Yes, he did.
The letters are fascinating. So you posted this at Hammer and Nigel, right?
Yes.
The letter. Now, I don't open the mail anymore, so Casey has to open the mail, but we get those sometimes. And what's fascinating is he's not mad at you about your take on anything.
No.
He's mad about your grammar.
Right. Think of all the things we've talked about. We have talked about the Capitol storming. We have talked about, once in a while, abortion is not really our thing, but we've mentioned that. We have a game we play on our show called How Have You Injured Your Crotch? Mm-hmm. All of that is fine.
Yes.
But boy, if somebody puts an S where it's not supposed to be, this woman, and I believe it's a woman, it was very nice handwriting. Mm-hmm. It was either a woman or Gabe Whitley, I'm not sure. But the handwriting, was exquisite, except for the fact there were multiple words misspelled and a few words missing.
And then she was going after you for grammar.
Right.
You're misspelling the words. It's like
I can't take it anymore.
It's like that Michael Hicks dude was going about people's IQ who want property tax reform, and he misspelled one of the words in the thing that he was posting about.
If you're going to go after somebody for education or grammar or something like that, then you better be perfect in yours, right? Like, there's nothing better than we've all received these types of messages before. You're an idiot, but they spell "your" wrong, and you can just simply respond "YOU''RE."
Yeah.
And it's that simple. But no, this is the second sternly worded letter I've received in 2 weeks.
I think my favorite comment is, "Irregardless, you won't change." Irregardless.
Irregardless.
Is that even a word?
No, it's not.
No.
That's the comedy.
They misspelled the word listening. There's a few words missing out of this whole thing. It's beautiful. Like, hang it in a museum.
And it's very weird. They were mad about how you said, like, me and someone. Or I don't even know what they were mad about. Like, it was some incidental thing. And yes, I just feel like we've reached a point in our society where, because of social media, people feel like they can just have access to everyone at any time. And so thus they say things. By the way, did they name? Was there a name?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
They chose specifically to write on the back of the very nice postcard, it looks like. I am not signing my name on this, so I do not want this
real
read on
tough
the air.
guy. Very tough, yes.
I don't want it read on the air, but instead, let's put it on the internet.
Well, we read it on the air, too. Like, you don't get to not sign your name to it and say, oh, by the way, you can't read this.
Is that a pink shirt?
It is. I look good in pink.
Well, I didn't know if that counted as pink because it looks kind of purpley, and I didn't know.
See, I lose debates about this kind of crap all the time. Like, my wife will have something on. I'll be like, oh, that's a nice purple shirt. It's pink, dummy. Well, it looks purple to me. I can see where the argument goes.
It's a tweener.
It kind of goes back to that stupid, what color is this dress thing from a number of years ago. Remember that?
Yeah.
Like, is it gold? Is it green?
She said like the 10th year anniversary of that.
Is it really? There's no way that's 10 years old.
Yeah.
What?
Boy. Yeah, boy.
Wow. Because I've been on afternoons for almost 8 years. June will be 8 years for Hammer and Nigel. And I thought for sure we were talking about that. But then again, I drank a lot, so I don't know.
Well, you may have been talking about it, and you've had 9 incarnations of the Hammer and Nigel show.
That's true.
Are we doing some sort of anniversary event for you guys? What's going on? Did I see something posted about that?
Well, I don't believe you did, but we are having a live show coming up next month.
Okay, I thought there was some sort of thing where you were getting the band back together, the old group.
So yes. So the Hammer and Nigel show started as a podcast. And I think I've told you this, Casey.
Yeah.
Very successful podcast, great sponsors. We used to beat regular talk shows in numbers. And that's kind of how we got back into the game here, so to speak.
Yeah.
And we did it at Coach's Tavern. So on Good Friday, coming up later this month. Good Friday, I believe it's the 18th of April, from 3 to 6 p.m., the Hammer and Nigel Show reunion, live on the air, Coach's Tavern, Beer Sample Friday meets Good Friday. Somebody might get struck with lightning.
All these people had names. It was great. You could just show up, and you would just know them by their name. You didn't know their real name. Like, there was a guy named Drunk Matt.
Right.
Will Drunk Matt be there?
He is invited.
Oh, how
Drunk Matt is invited. Big Boom Molly has been invited.
Will Black Marcus be there?
He has been invited.
I love that. They had all these people, and they became these lovable characters that were like a part of your extended family.
Yeah.
And you only knew them as whatever name they gave them.
There was a guy named Tommy that we can't say what his nickname was, but he's been invited as well.
That was only for the podcast.
Everybody had some sort of name where it was like, I want to know that person.
Right.
I love that. So it's Good Friday?
Yeah, Good Friday, WrestleMania weekend, a lot going on. This afternoon, Jeff Boggs is in for Big Nige. Tony Kennett will join us. Watching the weather could get a little fugly as the show goes on.
Thanks, Hammer. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
If you have a snoring problem or sleep apnea, odds are you have blockage in both your throat and your nose. Now, for those who've gone elsewhere and wonder why their issues aren't getting better, this is where the problem lies. Because the true root of your problem very well may be your nose. We believe we'll find that your nose isn't working the way it should. And once we do get your nose working, your CPAP mask can finally work, or you can lose that CPAP mask altogether. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula with Advent, where we offer every effective snoring and sleep apnea solution available, including simple in-office procedures that can get your nose and your throat working properly. It's a simple concept. If you're going to get your best sleep, you have to be able to breathe well.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
High-quality fine jewelry doesn't have to come with a high price tag. PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse in Brownsburg is changing the game with prices up to 70% lower than what you're going to find in those big-name jewelry stores or even those strip mall jewelry stores. Hey, it's Casey Daniels. You should check out the watches, the stunning fine jewelry, even the custom designs, all at unbeatable prices. Browse their expanded selection at PA Jewelers at the farmhouse in a cozy, charming setting of an 1888 farmhouse. Why would you want to pay more when you can get the best for less? Visit PA Jewelers at the farmhouse in Brownsburg today. Check them out online, pajewelers.jewelry, or their phone number, 317-456-4010.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But this one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now, here's a good number. $100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. Oh, one last number. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Get your new garage floor with Comer and Cross. Tony Katz here. And if your garage floor looks lousy, it's got cracks or stains, or if it has a bad epoxy job, or if your patio looks lousy as well, today is the day to call Comer and Cross for your quick and easy estimate at 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. We're talking about a Midwest company now here in Indianapolis. And when you have a gleaming new Comer and Cross garage floor, it's like pulling into a new car showroom every night. These guys are the gold standard. Comer and Cross. It's guaranteed to never chip, crack, or show tire lift like epoxy or paint. And the secret is the process. And their process means you're going to have a quality floor that lasts for years to come. They fix all your cracks and pits perfectly and apply your custom floor in 6 stages. And they're all certified employee pros. No freelancers at Comer and Cross. For your quick and easy Comer and Cross estimate on a new garage floor, patio, or basement this spring, call 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, or go to ComerCross.com. COMER. ComerCross.com.
Trust employee owned. B Windows extending our employee discount to you. Up to 55% off, plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Trust your home to B.
Your local news coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recycler Studios after Fox News. You're listening to 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis, and it's 11 o'clock.
Case closed for good. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. A federal judge has just let New York City Mayor Eric Adams off the hook in a corruption case, a decision that won't sit well with the mayor's fellow Democrats who claim Adams cooperated with the Trump illegal immigration crackdown to get the case dropped.
The judge's dismissal with prejudice means prosecutors won't have the option of bringing the criminal case against New York City Mayor Eric Adams back in the future. Adams, who is up for re-election this year, had pleaded not guilty to bribery and other charges, accused of accepting illegal campaign donations and travel discounts from a Turkish official and others.
As Fox's Tanya J. Powers, another federal judge has just ordered the Trump administration to rehire thousands of federal workers who were laid off in 19 states and Washington, D.C., covered by a lawsuit challenging those job cuts. Elon Musk has controversially led the DOGE push to slash the federal workforce and spending, and he's taken a lot of heat for that, and so has his company Tesla, driving the automaker's sales into reverse, down 13% last quarter to the lowest level in nearly 3 years amid destructive protests from people keying or damaging Tesla cars to firebombing dealerships. Musk tells Fox the target of Tesla is
wide-scale domestic terrorism with the purpose of intimidation, and it's harming innocent people. It's really terrible.
President Trump is writing a lot more tariffs on more imports on what he calls Liberation Day. Ahead of the announcement, Fox Business Network's Edward Lawrence reports from the White House.
Both Canada and Mexico were in talks about tariff levels with the Commerce Secretary. He will lead the External Revenue Service being formed today to collect the tariffs. President Trump wants to protect 7 sectors. As early as today, we could announce or hear announcements about protectionary tariffs on lumber. He has a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum and autos today.
On Wall Street, as there's fear about tariffs causing inflation, stocks are rising. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What has them most concerned? Nothing on radar right now. Most of the state under a wind advisory, 57 degrees on Monument Circle. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 11:02. At a conference call this morning, the National Weather Service detailed the biggest severe weather threats to watch out for. Meteorologist Andrew White led the briefing.
The main threat we're concerned with is going to be gusty winds with the discrete thunderstorms out ahead of the line and then the line itself. So definitely have the potential, just kind of like what we've seen in the last few severe weather events this spring. Widespread 60 to 70 with isolated stronger wind gusts or something would be possible.
He says tornadoes and heavy rain are of the greatest concern in southwest Indiana starting at about 3 o'clock. Indiana Republican Senator Jim Banks
I was a worker at HHS. I was fired.
Was confronted on Tuesday by a worker who was fired from his federal government job. The man continued to talk to Banks while he walked to an elevator, and Banks told the man he probably deserved to be fired and that he was a clown. Here's Banks explaining the situation this morning.
I have no patience for it. I'm not going to hold back. This guy was following me around with a camera. To me, he is a clown. He acted like a clown yesterday and probably didn't deserve the job that he had.
Banks says cutting jobs like the one he had helps trim down wasteful government spending and the national debt. $3.30 a gallon is the statewide average for gas today across Indiana, says Gas Buddy. That's up 14 cents from where it was Monday. An experimental technology is being considered to generate power in Indiana. Chris Davis reports you, as a ratepayer, could foot some of the bill.
You may have heard or read about the possibility of small nuclear reactors being used to power people's homes in Indiana. You, as a ratepayer, may be paying for some of that experiment.
If a utility decides to go forward with this program, on their bill, will there be a line item specifically stating this?
She's Representative Cherish Pryor of Marion County asking that question Tuesday in a House committee hearing. At least 2 bills before the General Assembly could make that program go forward. Chris Davis, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
And the renovated Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum has reopened today. The museum has race cars from its 116-year history, as well as some new non-car artifacts on display. I'm Sean Herrick on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. It's 11:04. Kendall and Casey coming back in 1 minute.
Pierce Jewelers has a beautiful, warm, and friendly showroom, and their showcase of estate jewelry is constantly changing. They're always purchasing and looking for new, old treasures, and your fine jewelry may be worth more than you think. The staff at Pierce Jewelers, a trusted name since 1968, will help you understand and evaluate your memorable pieces, and they'll make sure you receive superb service and expert counsel. They'll guide you through the process, explain each piece, and why the item's value is a certain amount. No appointment needed, but there are times they'll need to take in your items to further examine and evaluate them. Pierce Jewelers doesn't charge for this process, nor is there any requirement for you to sell your items. Pierce Jewelers will make sure you receive a competitive price for your valuables, and you'll walk away knowing you've received their best and honest offer. Call Pierce Jewelers today at 317-574-3333 to learn more about selling your jewelry and other valuable precious items.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
I think had you been there, it would have been no competition at all. Yeah.
I've heard that many times in my life.
I mean, I think that you could do that speech, no problem.
You're talking about Booker?
Yeah.
Okay, so Cory Booker, I don't even know what he was upset about. So it's not advertising. When you see an advertisement, if you don't remember what they're selling, like you can have the catchiest jingle in the world. If people don't associate with what you're selling,
yeah,
then it wasn't a good ad.
Correct.
And in this case, I know he did a thing, but I don't know what he was upset about. So it wasn't that good of a thing.
And it wasn't even a filibuster.
To call to the conscience of this nation, to say I will not stand for another American to lose their health care.
So a filibuster only occurs when the Senate is attempting to pass a bill or confirm a nominee, right? That wasn't the case in this instance. It was just a personal stand to allegedly raise awareness against issues that he had a problem with. He's still going.
Assaults on the Constitution by a man who even the highest judge in our land, a Republican-appointed judge, said stop threatening and bullying other branches of government.
I mean, he sounds like he's about to cry. What I mean, this is what I don't understand though. So there's not even a thing. Pull that down. His voice is obnoxious. There wasn't a thing?
No.
He just felt like talking?
He was just setting a record.
He's Forrest Gump. I just felt like running, or in this case, he just felt like. So there's no thing.
It wasn't an official filibuster, no.
I mean, there's no, this policy position, I'm going to save the republic by, refusing to leave my, there's none of that. There was no, Okay, so let's talk about what he was doing. Let's just cut the crap here.
Getting attention.
He's running for president, and he put himself in it, and very well done. It's another example of a person using their position and doing something or saying something ridiculous or behaving in a ridiculous fashion. Like, oh, I don't know, you being surrounded by federal manservants and then you calling some federal worker who wants to know why they were fired a clown or saying they deserved it. I mean, did anybody do that recently? I mean, that would be the sort of thing.
Jim Banks.
Oh, Jim Banks did that.
Indiana Senator Jim Banks.
I'd already forgotten. And then you fleeing on an elevator, presenting yourself as a big tough guy while you flee on an elevator surrounded by what appear to be federal manservants paid for by the taxpayers. Now, if those guys were not paid by the taxpayers, Jim should let us know. If they were running some sort of Jim Banks fan club, and they were the presidents or whatever, and we had missed that or whatever, let us know. But the hypocrisy of that, right? The hypocrisy of you apparently having all these workers around you that are okay, but this guy wanting to know why he got fired, that he's a clown. Or the idea that I voted for Kevin McCarthy 15 times and I act outraged about federal spending, right? All of these things. But anyway, this is no different, right? We live in an internet age where these guys have figured out, whether it's Booker or Banks or whoever, that they can get all sorts of attention on social media, which will get the attention of the activist class on both sides of the aisle, and then they essentially look at it as, I've won the day.
Right. He did it in part, I believe, to try to energize his base. So he started speaking Monday at 7 p.m. He continued until a little after 8 p.m. yesterday. It made it the longest speech in Senate history. The first record was held by Strom Thurmond back in 1957. And so this is just another Democrat play, right? It's the stunts. It's always the stunts with them. You remember?
Wait. It's both sides. It's stunts on both sides. These people do this crap on the Republican side all the time too, where they have no intention of making anything better. They have no intention. They're just trying to get attention for themselves. And we talked about this earlier in the program, and we'll talk about it with Cory Booker. He didn't affect anything.
No, that's it. It was a stunt.
He didn't affect anything. So if his goal was some sort of policy position that he wanted changed, he didn't accomplish that. The same way as we talked about in the opening segments, one of the major issues, and we saw this yesterday in Wisconsin, people are recoiling against Musk and Doge because it seems like often the vilification of people who are getting let go rather than approaching it. And this is, again, Banks did the cause a huge disservice yesterday, which he doesn't actually care about the cause. He cares about his own attention. He's proven that. Fine, you got that. But the cause, if you cared about the cause, the way you would have handled that with that guy, even if he is a clown, even if he is an antagonist, you look at him and say, hey, you know what? I'm really sorry that you were laid off. I'm really sorry for any person who lost their job. Unfortunately,
we've got to get the spending under control.
We're $37 trillion in debt. Yeah. We're not treating our government any different than we're treating regular people now. I really hope you land back on your feet. I really hope you find a good job that works for you. And it's just sad that previous politicians, well, he couldn't say previous because he's been a part of it for a while, but let's just previous politicians didn't take spending or government accountability serious, and you got caught up in that. Thanks, have a nice day. Instead, he attacks the guy. The story becomes he attacks the guy, and then you see a recoil in places like Wisconsin yesterday. You saw a recoil to some extent in Florida. Didn't cost him the elections, but that's the point. Whether it's Booker or Banks, their own attention, which they're getting, their own cause celeb, which they're getting, is more important than the cause or better public policy.
Yeah, so pretty much what you're saying, it's the same picture. One just took a lot longer.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. These guys are Rand Paul, Massey, maybe there's a couple others. Not much. That's about the only very select group of people who actually care about you. Most of these people are totally in it for themselves. They'll say or take whatever lane on the game board they need to take that needs filled in order to keep themselves relevant. And most of those Freedom Caucus guys are proving they don't care about any of this either. They approved, other than Massey, they all voted for the reconciliation to start, which adds to spending, adds to the deficit, adds to all that stuff.
It's a really good point, Rob. I didn't think of it that way, because after Booker was done talking, everybody in the chamber was clapping and giving him a standing ovation and acting like he had just accomplished this great feat. Chuck Schumer was there, and it was all just designed to increase his visibility. And you heard the same thing people were applying to Jim Banks with the elevator thing, saying, ooh, based and boom. And there you have it. It was like the same reaction from both sides.
Yeah. And it works because these people care about themselves. They're in it to elevate themselves. And it works. We live in a culture now where the base, the hardcore people, all largely respond to what they see on social media. Think about where else. I was talking with one of our coworkers out in the hall about this because he was saying how bold my take was on banks. I'm the only person, certainly only conservative, who has the stones to stand up and say, that's a joke what he did yesterday. And I said, so think about that. Where else are you going to hear what you've just heard from us? Right here. That's it. Even on this radio station, we're the only person pointing out, look at all those people that surrounded Jim Banks. Unless they were on some sort of volunteer mission, unless they were part of some fan club, they were getting paid to be there. Why is that okay? Did he need all those people to be around him? Or so he's going to indict this guy, which maybe the guy's position didn't need to exist. Good chance it probably didn't. But look at how he's treating this guy when you have all of these people who are around you. You claim to be against spending, but you voted for Kevin McCarthy 15 times, who was all about continuing the Biden-era spending, right? And so we're the people who have the guts to say it. And unless you hear it between 9 and noon, it'll just go into the ether, and then it'll be back to, wow, wasn't Jim Banks so bold to run on an elevator behind his employees and run away from some guy who he called a clown? Like, that to me is like, if you're going to be a tough guy, be a tough guy. You're a military guy. Why didn't he stay and engage the guy? Why did he get on the elevator behind the people and let the door close? If you're going to be tough and tell some guy he's worthless and his job didn't mean anything, say it right to his face.
That's when the negotiation begins, right?
Like, to me, and this is the problem.
That's how you handle the objection. If somebody's coming, that's your opportunity to turn them.
We are so divided in terms of red and blue, MAGA, left, or whatever you want to call it, that we can't even have an honest conversation about, hey, that probably did a lot of harm yesterday. And look at how people in a swing state are judging the actions thus far of the administration, or the lack thereof in many cases, or the things that Elon Musk is doing. And when they see things like that, that then becomes a rallying cry. You give people ammunition to keep going. So if Banks' goal was actually to cut the government or to actually motivate people to his side, he did a huge disservice yesterday. It's why I got out of that business. It's why I got out of ever wanting to be in politics again, et cetera, because I want to say what I think. But I don't have the responsibility of being an office holder. I don't have the responsibility of coalition building. I don't have the responsibility of crafting and creating meaningful public policy that can unite the country around things that need to be done. And so the same thing with this Cory Booker guy. Why didn't you use it on something that mattered? Why? Because he wants to kickstart his presidential campaign. The sooner he does that, the better. He wasn't going to wait for something meaningful. And all he did was sit there and talk, and it didn't change anything.
Attention-seeking behavior is all it was.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this polling that came out, and it showed that President Trump's approval rating dipped just a little bit. It's now down to 49%, down from 52% last month. But even the pollster said this is just a margin of error.
Who did the poll? Does it say?
It was CAPS.
Okay. So the polling's all over the map right now.
Yeah, Harvard, CAPS, Harris.
And I always tend to think that elections are pretty good indicators of polling, right?
Yeah.
That's the ultimate
and
poll.
We had two special elections yesterday.
And while the Republican won and they held on to the seats and they won by what you would describe as comfortable margins, it certainly wasn't what the victories were in 2024. Now, the Democrats spend a huge amounts of money, and they're usually the party out of power is motivated, but it doesn't usually change that much that fast. You then saw in Wisconsin, a state that Trump carried. However, remember, the senator did not win in Wisconsin. The Republican Senate candidate did not win in Wisconsin. And what did we say at the time? We said the Republican brand is
ass.
It's ass. People hate the Republicans, and rightfully so. They're liars. They don't follow through on things. They're the worst. At least the Democrats are honest about what they are. The Republicans lie to you year after year after year after year, and people are looking at it and going, okay, what am I getting? What have I gotten so far with Trump? He's doing great on the border. We'll check that box. That's great, and that would probably be worth voting for him right there. But in terms of the economy, in terms of the things he promised to do, other than the border, he's not checking many boxes. Prices are not under control. Gas is going back up. The Ukraine thing is as big a mess as ever. He's not.
And with Liberation Day, with all of the tariffs, I mean, Hope he's right.
So if you're a swing voter
Fingers crossed.
who's not engaged, and you look at and you take Trump out of the equation because he's not on the ballot, so the Trump brand loyalists are not showing up to vote, why would anybody vote for Republicans?
It's interesting that you said swing voter because according to this poll, 50% of independents are disapproving. I mean, it's right down the middle. 50% disapproving, which means 50% approve.
But in order for Republicans to win or for Trump to succeed, he needs a way higher percentage of independents to be approving. And this is, again, it comes back to, I hate to be a broken record on this, but it comes back to what Mitch Daniels said over a month ago in that interview we did and that article and off that interview he did in Politico. Sometimes you gotta take incremental wins. You got to declare victory on those and then say, I'm coming back the next day or the next month or the next whatever for the next set of victories and build on that. And in the case of Trump, he just dove into everything all at once. Should have done the border first. Okay, border, boom, done, check it. We're secure, right? Whatever. But it's the tariffs, it's the Ukraine, it's all of these things, and he's not getting wins on those. And people are looking and going, hey, I thought you were this great negotiator. I thought you were this guy who could do things better than everybody else.
The war in Ukraine was going to be done in 24 hours.
Term 2 is starting to look more and more like term 1. And you remember how sideways term 1 got because he did the same thing where everything was a show. And now he's got Musk in on the show, too, and Musk is enjoying the entertainment. Musk is enjoying the fame. It don't matter to Musk whether it fails or not because he's the richest man in the world, and he's going to continue to be. And so I think this polling and then the ultimate poll, which was yesterday, is showing the things we've been saying, which is you better get back to nuts and bolts, and you better start getting some wins, or you're going to be in big trouble.
Okay, you received an email that we have to share, and that email was about the property tax.
That's correct. Yes, this person I think is spot on a lot of things. They're very upset, and I think it captures the frustration of many people in our audience.
The essence. Yeah, we'll get to that coming up from 93 WIBC.
Matt Bear knows how to break the traffic press.
I-70 is packed tight. There's a blue Chevy trying to drive the lane, but it's facing tough D from the semi.
Matt Bear sees the openings, finds the best routes, and keeps you moving.
Watch out. 465 Construction is using a wicked zone with cones blocking the right side, forcing everyone into the middle.
Matt Bear traffic.
Complete gridlock in the paint.
Navigating traffic madness.
Fast break on I-69. Hit the gas.
Mornings and afternoons on 93 WIBC.
Hey guys, it's Rob for We Grow Hair Indie. Yes, now might be the perfect time for you to get your confidence back by making a trip over to We Grow Hair Indie. You know, I did that more than 4 years ago, and I am so glad I did every time I look in the mirror. Here's how this works. Call today, 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995. Schedule your totally free, no hassle, no obligation consultation. Darren and the guys at We Grow Hair Indie, they're going to take a look at what you got going on, and then they're going to give you some suggestions on how to make that a little bit better. Then the ball's in your court. See what I did there? See, tied it into the basketball games going on. Yeah, that's why I've trained professional. Anyway, you make the choice. The ball's in your court. In the meantime, you can see some other folks who chose to get their confidence back by heading over to We Grow Hair Indie, and you can find that at WeGrowHairIndie.com. WeGrowHairIndie.com, 317-522-2995. Tell them Rob sent you.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But this one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now, here's a good number. $100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. Oh, one last number. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
This is a special notice to all U.S. taxpayers with back taxes to the IRS. Billions in tax relief is now being made available to struggling taxpayers, giving thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars in savings away to those who qualify. If you're facing wage garnishment, threatening letters, audits, liens, levies, or already in a payment plan, you can now expedite the resolution to your tax problem, end collections, and even qualify to reduce a large portion of what you owe. Stop IRS Debt has established a relief hotline for you to call to check what savings and options you qualify for. Dial 800-518-9137. With many people facing job loss and rising cost of living, these special IRS initiatives are designed to aid delinquent taxpayers with the relief that they need to get a fresh start. For a free consultation to see what savings you qualify for, call 800-518-9137. 800-518-9137. 800-518-9137.
Trust employee owned. B Windows extending our employee discount to you. Up to 55% off, plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Trust your home to B.
I probably should read this email that we got.
Yeah.
It is the Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. That's Casey. So Monday, Braun, the governor, was on with Hammer and Nigel.
Yep.
And he said some things that were a little concerning in regards to where they were with the property taxes, because it's just disappeared behind closed doors for 2.5 weeks now after our rally. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
That they have this hearing and they're like, okay, we'll have amendments, and then we have the rally, and the rally was awesome.
And then crickets.
And then just it disappeared.
Yeah.
And so Braun went on with Hammer and Nigel, and he started talking about apparently some deal that's in the works, which made it sound like, and again, one of the problems with Braun is you ask him what time it is, and he'll tell you how to make a watch, and he uses a lot of government speak, and he doesn't speak super quick, and he's got to get better at that. But I was able to decipher, and I think an average person would decipher, you can correct me if I'm wrong, you heard the same thing I heard, they're working on some sort of deal where if your house is below a certain assessed value, you'll get property tax relief, and then everybody else is
out of luck.
Right?
Yeah. Which, I mean, works great for some people, like you perhaps, but not for me, because if your home is valued more than $225,000, according to what they're working on, you're not going to get any relief.
And I got into this in the piece Adam Wren did in Importantville about me and our show, and you may remember that. That's the one where he said I'm the most powerful radio broadcaster in the state.
I remember that article.
I hate compliments. I'm so embarrassed when people say just glowing things about me.
You're so humble.
But I said, look, one of the reasons I'm a danger to these people is I don't want anything.
Yeah.
And the thing I want is the betterment of society. And I'm advocating against myself here by saying this is a bad deal. It'd be great for me if they say, hey, it's going to be $250 and below or $275 and below. You get the reset. It'd be great for me if I actually didn't care about anybody but myself. But my mortal flaw, Casey, is I care too much.
You just give and give and give.
I am the giving tree.
Yeah.
I am but a stump.
I know.
Come, boys, sit on my stump.
I know.
You may rest here.
Well, I think it would be really hard for you to...
Cav, did your parents read you Shel Silverstein when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah, I was a big fan of
the
Shel
giving tree.
Silverstein.
Yeah, that's me. I mean, they've taken the branches, they've taken the trunk, they've taken the apples. I got nothing. I'm just a stump now. Come sit on my stump.
I feel like it would be really hard for you to celebrate your win if you were to get relief while sitting next to me, and I just have to keep forking over more money.
Well, but that's
Wouldn't you feel bad?
Yes, you are no less of a Hoosier than I am. You are no less of a contributor to society than I am. We all deserve property tax relief. And I've said this has been the passion of my life, and I was really good at it in local office, helping people in the community where I lived. And I want that the rest of the state to be able to feel that feeling of having your property taxes go down or your rates go down, or see that the community can thrive and the things that can happen when you do that. And that's why I'm saying it's a bad deal. If what he's describing is where they're at, or if your home isn't 250 or 275 or whatever, it's a bad deal. And one of the things he said that really pissed some people off, and we've heard from multiple people, he used this bizarro term jumbo home. And he's like basically saying the jumbo home people don't need it or indicated they don't want it. And we've heard from a bunch of people that are like, I don't know what number he's talking about because he didn't say.
Not true. Yeah.
But like if you get a $400,000 home, it ain't meaning you're living in a mansion anymore. There's a time you're like, ooh, that person's pretty well off, or they got some land or whatever. There's tons of homes in central Indiana, thousands and thousands of homes that you look at and go, that's a nice home. But it's not.
Would you consider
right?
it
So
a jumbo?
what's the number, right? So I got this email, and I thought it kind of captured the sentiment of what people are thinking, and I hope the governor will hear this. Rob, just need to vent. By the way, this comes from Peter. Rob, just need to vent. I bought my house for $170,000 12 years ago. Wait. But these a-holes, he used the word, I can't. Oh, no, he actually used a-holes. That's radio appropriate. These a-holes have raised my assessed value up to almost $400,000. So think about this. Guy buys a house at $170,000. probably a decent home 12 years ago. Nothing that you're going, ooh, boy, he's raking in the dough, baby.
Yeah.
And through this assessment process, they've jacked him up to $400,000. I'm in some Joe Blow 30-year-old generic cookie-cutter subdivision with more holes in the roads than a World War II minefield. 3-bedroom home in Lawrence Township. Okay, that's exactly where he lives. Of course, the idiot, quote, for the children voters approved a bond measure, and now my property taxes went from $1,168 per payment in 2018 to $2,268 in 2025. Man, I can't stand these people. Just a bunch of turds in a punch bowl. If Braun doesn't take a hardline stance, it will be Micah or no one else next time.
Wow.
I know that my opinion plus $5 will only get you a cup of coffee at Starbucks, but just putting it out there. The Indiana GOP sucks. I guess I may have to vote for the ass team. Maybe better than the dumbass GOP.
Wow.
What sort of spineless clown factory are these politicians cloned in?
Yeah. Well, you can tell. I mean, he's not happy. He doesn't want to be raking over the money anymore.
He shouldn't be.
Handing it over every
shouldn't be.
single year.
Yeah.
And it just keeps increasing.
And look, and I talked to somebody that I trust about this yesterday, and I said, Braun may have made a mistake in the sense of I don't think he would sign on to the deal he described yesterday. I think Braun is too smart to do that, and I don't think he would go back on his word. And I think he was trying. Look, when you're not a great speaker, sometimes maybe speaking ain't the way to go for you, right? If negotiation is your thing and as a business guy it's his thing, and I appreciate his attempt at transparency. But what he did 2 days ago was essentially tell people, well, right now it's basically at 225, and I'm going to try to get you to 250 or 270, or you didn't say a number, but you're assuming Todd Houston is not going to be visited by the government accountability of taxpayers past, present, and future, and then suddenly wake up and go, okay, we'll raise it to $500,000, right?
Why is he even fighting on this point at all? Just let that go, and how about you just do the rate reset?
Right. And so I think he talked himself into a position that did more harm than good. He could have described what was going on at a higher level, but because he started throwing numbers out there, now people, and it's good, right? I mean, we know where they're at based on the numbers that he threw out there. But that guy, I think, really, Peter, captured the sentiment of where our audience is, which is that what you described sucks. It's not going to help most people.
Right.
And unless it gets way better, the best thing for you is to veto the thing, call a special session, and then at the very least, you can wash your hands of it and go, hey, you got to deal with these dudes in the election next year. If you want to fix this, I'll keep fighting for you, but I'm not going to take accountability for this.
Yeah. It'll be really interesting to see where it ends up. But, of course, we may never know until, under the cover of darkness.
Hey, and look, I'm negotiating against myself right now because the best thing for me to do would be say, Braun, sign that deal. As long as it's 250 or above, sign that deal because I'm going to.
Congratulations to you.
Although in fairness, we don't even know what they meant by relief, right? It wasn't like he said they're signing on to the reset.
Right. What exactly is the relief?
Yeah.
That's a little detail that was left out, right?
This is why they need to just adopt my 4-point plan.
Right.
Everybody would be.
They should. Hey,
happy.
we should make sure they've seen that while we're over there today.
Oh, perfect. Yes.
Let's review the questions for Diego coming up.
When we come back?
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
High winds and maybe some high water. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 11:30.
We are expecting gusty winds today. We do have a wind advisory that's out until 1 a.m.
That's Andrew White with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis at a conference call this morning, urging you to watch out for severe weather today, especially between 3 this afternoon and early Thursday morning. Indiana Republican Senator Jim Banks says he does not regret calling a fired federal worker a clown on Tuesday.
He is a clown. He acted like a clown yesterday and probably didn't deserve the job that he had.
Banks says President Trump is correctly cutting federal jobs that he calls a joke. The statewide average for gas today, $3.30 a gallon, says Gas Buddy. And Alex Ovechkin is now just 4 goals away from passing Wayne Gretzky as the NHL's all-time leading scorer. I'm John Herrick, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
April showers can bring plumbing downers, and my friends at Hope Plumbing don't want you to get caught in a flood this spring. Make sure your sump pump is working properly to avoid any damage. During the month of April, call Hope Plumbing and get a free sump pump with the purchase of a new battery backup system. A sump pump is vital to protecting your home from heavy rains, so you don't want to delay in calling Hope Plumbing. The number 641-HOPE. That's 641-HOPE, or visit them online at hopeplumbing.com.
Brooks and Dunn, the best-selling duo of all time, live. Something country. Neon Moon Tour 2025. Urban Neon. With David Lee Murphy. A little dust on the bottom of that red dirt road. Tomorrow, Gainbridge Fieldhouse. On sale now at Ticketmaster. Brooks and Dunn live.
It's Hammer and Nigel for Window Nation. April's a great time to spruce up around the house, like getting rid of those old, ugly, drafty, hard-to-open windows and starting fresh, especially during Window Nation's Buy 4, Get 4 free sale going on now through April 30th. And if you buy a house full of windows, they'll include a free entry door, too. Plus, with 0% financing, 0 down, and no monthly payments, you could get new windows and pay nothing until 2027.
Window Nation partners with top window manufacturers in the nation to build windows to their high-quality specs. Then they pass those savings on to you. You'll protect your home with some of the best windows you can buy at a fraction of the price of some of those other brands. This sale ends April 30th. Do not miss your chance to take advantage of the Buy 4, Get 4 for free deal, and you don't pay anything until 2027. Schedule that estimate right now at 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com.
Taxes was taxing. Now taxes is relaxing when you file for free.
I can file for free? TurboTax Free Edition. Roughly 37% of filers qualify. Simple Form 1040 returns only. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free. I can file for free.
Now this is taxes. File for free with TurboTax Free Edition and get your maximum refund. No schedules except for Earned Income Tax Credit, Child Tax Credit, and Student Loan Interest. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Did you see that Kid Rock was at the White House with Donald Trump?
Yeah.
What do you think of that look? You're not a fan?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I just think the Kid Rock thing is a bit much.
Yeah?
And I think the Palsky celebrities in the White House thing without some sort of mission or cause is a bit much.
Well, he had a mission. I mean, there was a cause there. Trump signed that executive order to protect Americans from exploitative ticket scalping in the concert and entertainment industry.
And Kid Rock was deeply concerned about ticket price. I must have missed his numerous speeches on that. We looking forward to finding those very soon. So this is what, saying that it is believed that there's monopolies in the ticket industry and that it's hard for you to shut. Now do public utilities. Hey, Mr. Trump, why don't you do something that actually matters to people like public utilities? Because you want to look up monopolies and predatory practices?
Now do that.
Yeah. Let's look up public utilities because according to the General Assembly, I'm about to have to pay higher electric bills for my utility company to get to play Dr. Frankenstein with SMRs, the small modular reactors. So yeah, why don't you really
spend your time on something more important, you're saying? Okay, well, this was one of his campaign promises, and he said that he's just following up on that. The live concert and entertainment industry contributes $132.6 billion to the U.S. economy and supports over 900,000 jobs. So they're saying that the provisions of this order ensures that there is price transparency in your ticket purchasing process and that it's to prevent unfair, deceptive, and anti-competitive conduct on the secondary market.
Yeah, there is transparency. Before you check out, it tells you what you're going to pay, and you get the choice to pay it or not, right? As long as there's one group who can decide what they're going to charge, they're going to charge whatever they want. Like a public utility!
Kid Rock hanging out in the Oval Office.
Am I missing?
It seemed like he was there for a couple days, actually.
What else does he have going on?
Right.
Okay, but my point is, like, okay, cool. You're going to address the ticket issue. I don't have to buy a ticket to a concert to live. I have to have electricity. I have to have gas. I have to have water. I have to have sewer. Like that. These are daily things that the same thing you claim to be concerned about with the tickets exist, but it's whether your lights will turn on or not. Shouldn't we focus on the thing? Oh, but utilities give a lot of money to politicians, don't they? Ha, boy, howdy, Case. Funny how that works out.
Yeah, I think you've connected the dots on that one. So Kid Rock was playing FDR's grand piano while he was at the White House. It was gifted by the Steinway family in 1938. Listen to this. Definitely not cowboy or ball with a ball. It reminds me like when you're at a fancy hotel and there's somebody in the corner just playing piano, or you're like at a mall.
You know, that's how I met my dear friend Troy Kennett.
He was just playing a random piano?
Keyboard player for Mellencamp, who we referenced just a few weeks ago when he provided the key answer on what Mellencamp was actually saying in the song Cherry Bomb, and did very quickly. I met him at an event, and he was the hired piano player. It was one of them swanky political events, and he was the hired piano player, and I was like, these people are boring. I'm going to go talk to that dude because he's really good at playing piano.
Right.
And just spent 2 hours sitting there shooting the breeze with him about music, and then found out what he did. And so get to know your local swanky event piano player. They may be living very interesting lives.
It's weird at the White House, right? You're just like walking down the hall and there's just Kid Rock playing a grand piano.
Yeah.
You never know. Okay, so have you been working on your
Well, yes.
On your letter, your questions?
We're getting ready to go here in just a little bit to the State House to drop off these questions to Diego Morales. I have them up at Rob M. Kendall on Twitter if you'd like to see them about his trip to India and lack of disclosure. Now, what I thought was we determined, because he's probably running right now, like he's probably booking another flight to India as we speak to get away from us. He's not going to be there. He's not going to come out and answer our questions. We'll drop them off. They'll be ignored in the order in which they're received. However, one of our frustrations is no one in that building is doing anything about this. And so I thought, well, if we're going to go drop these off, why don't we drop a copy off at all of the statewide elected office holders? So that'd be Rokita, that would be Micah, Braun, Elise Nishala, Daniel Elliott. I think those are the 5.
We're going to have to go up and downstairs, cover
we'll
that
do
entire State House.
But I told you, I said, we need a cover letter to go with this to explain what this is. So I'm currently in the process.
Yeah.
I'm like the guy in Blazing Saddles. Send a wire, the main office. Would you like to read what I have so far?
Yeah.
You know, with this fertile mind, it's like it's always moving.
It never
thinking,
stops.
I should have thought this through ahead of time, but it just starts working, and it's like some sort of locomotive.
You're multitasking over there.
Steam engine, right?
Yeah.
Dear Mr. Rokita.
Okay.
And I'm sure Todd will be thrilled to see us.
Oh, yeah.
Please find the attached letter and questions that were dropped off at the office of Secretary of State Diego Morales regarding his recent, quote, privately funded trip to India. Thus far, Mr. Morales refuses to answer any questions about the trip. As I'm sure you can understand, his refusal to disclose this information and complete lack of transparency about the trip has raised a red flag to many Hoosiers. That's what I have so far.
Okay. I like it.
I mean, I really need to just, we were hoping you might, let's just do this on the air. Let's see what I can come up with shall we? Are we ready?
Yeah, do it.
I'm doing this in real time. I have no idea what the next words out of my mouth will be. We were hoping you could continue. We were hoping you might continue your espoused commitment.
Yeah.
Did you know I got an A in typing class? I bet they don't even have typing class anymore.
Probably
I got,
not.
Like they had a actual keyboard class. I got an A in high school and in college.
Was it on a computer keyboard?
Yes.
See, my typing class was actually
an actual typewriter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I felt a little bad. My senior year of high school, I needed an elective class. It was, you know how you're like, what is the easiest class?
Yeah.
Typing. And I was in there with like a bunch of freshmen. So there was me and a bunch of freshmen. But I didn't get an A in the typing.
Are you able to actually look away from the keyboard?
I used to be really good at typing. I don't obviously, like everybody else, I don't really type very much anymore because it's all with your thumbs. But I'm doing this right now as we're talking and I'm typing, right? So I'm doing a fairly decent job.
Your fingers aren't actually moving.
Well,
right
but
now.
they were just a second ago until I distracted. We were hoping you might, I'll try to do it as I'm typing, right?
Okay.
People on the YouTube can see this. We were hoping you might continue your spouse commitment to you can see, Casey, I'm doing it, right?
Yeah, you are.
Transparency, transparency, and seek the answers to the questions listed on the attached paper. Thank you in advance for giving a damn about the taxpayers, since the General Assembly appears not to care at all.
I like it. Are you going to send it like respectfully or
Well, how do you want to?
warm regards
Is it
with love?
We got to put both of our names on it.
Respectfully.
Respectfully.
Yes.
Can I put doesn't give a damn and respectfully in the same letter?
Yeah, you can.
Sure. Why not?
Sincerely?
Is it one space between the final paragraph and the respectfully? Is that right? Because it's 4 spaces between that and the signature. Respectfully, Rob. I mean, it's just an attachment.
Okay,
Rob
we
Kendall,
need to get to the questions.
Yeah, hang on here. I'm
Wrap
just
that
showing you how good a typer I am. I haven't typed like this in years.
I'm so impressed.
Rob Kendall and Casey Daniels.
By your skills.
Kendall and Casey show.
Yeah.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. All right, ready. All right, the questions. Are we ready? Yeah, these are the questions we're going to be dropping off.
Yeah.
Dear Diego, the Kendall and Casey show, 9 to noon, 93.1 WIBC, is seeking clarification on numerous concerns involving your recent trip to India. As we are sure you are aware of the red flags your trip has created, you can put many of them to bed by answering the questions below. You may reach us at rob@wibc.com, casey@wibc.com, or in the case of internet not working, you can provide the answers verbally at 317-684-8444. All right, question 1. How long were you in India?
Yeah.
Who did you travel to India with?
Okay.
Who did you stay with in India?
Yeah.
Where did you stay in India? Who paid for your flights? Who paid for your living arrangements? Who paid for your meals? Were you financially compensated for your trip? Did anyone from the Indian Economic Development Commission, is it corporation or commission? We need to correct that. Look that up real quick.
Yeah.
I don't want to put the wrong thing on there. We'd
Yeah,
look foolish.
because then they're going to say, you don't even know what you're talking
We'd
about.
look foolish. I don't want to look foolish. Is it corporation? I think it's corporation. Indian Economic Development Corporation. Approve of this trip. IEDC. Did anyone from the executive branch or the General Assembly approve of this trip? Who among your staff knew about your whereabouts? Did we get an answer?
It's council.
No, it's not. There's no way. Let me finish these, and then we'll look that up. There's no way. I've never heard it referred as cancel. Who among your staff knew of your whereabouts? Did you travel with Raju Chintala to India?
Corporation.
Corporation. Very good. Thank you. I'll fix that. During your time in India, were you aware he was posting on Facebook that he is selling access to EB-5 visas while there? Did you at any time help Raju Chintala or anyone connected with him sell or promote the sale of EB-5 visas? Who can provide detailed whereabouts/meetings during your time there? Are you willing to release all correspondence with yourself and Mr. Chintala during the month of March? How many contracts do companies Mr. Chintala is associated with have with the Secretary of State's office? What services do those companies provide for your office? What is the compensation those companies receive? Can you confirm Mr. Chintala is a, quote, senior advisor to your office? What does that title entail?
I don't think he's going to answer any of these.
Corporation, right?
Yeah.
Got to make that correction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Indiana,
I can't believe, Kevin, you almost let me go out looking foolish like that.
Indiana Economic Development Corporation. And some people have said, can't you go and FOIA Act or something like that, get these questions answered? Well, there's the APRA, which is the Access to Public Records. But even that is difficult because once you file that, the agency, they have 7 days to acknowledge receipt of the request, and then they have another 30 days after they acknowledge it to provide any documentation, or they could come back and say, no, this is just too vague, or we need more detail. What exactly are you looking for? And then if they question, what you're looking for, then they have another 30 days. Most agencies have the APRA link on their website. Secretary of State does not, or at least I cannot find it.
So that means he's going out of his way not to be
transparent. Imagine that. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with this trip over to the State House. Before we go do that, Rob, I want to just present to you some fun ways to insult people.
Oh! Do I need help with that?
Little Southern charm here.
Boy, you are dumber than a sack of hammers. You're the reason they got to put instructions on the shampoo bottle, ain't you? You got a face for radio. Your antenna don't pick up all the channels, does it? If your IQ was 2 points higher, you'd be smart as a rock. If I put your brain on the edge of a razor blade, it'd look like a BB rolling down a 4-lane. Watching you trying to think is like watching a dog chase its tail. Your elevator's stuck between floors, ain't it? If you stand real close to him, you can hear the ocean. If you was twice as smart, you'd still be stupid. Your thought train derailed, didn't it? You look like you've been bobbing for apples in a pot full of boiling grease. Thinking ain't your strong suit, is it? If you was any slower, you'd be going backwards. You got a face that can make a train take a dirt road.
I think the worst
Strong.
one, you get a face for radio.
Very well done.
All right, Val Kilmer passed away. We got to talk about
That's a
that
big
coming
deal.
up. Yeah, it's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show 3:06 this afternoon, keeping our eye on the weather. There might be some tariffs. We're going to have some fun with Jeff Boggs, who's in for Big Nige, 93 WIBC.
Are you thinking this year I want to look and feel better and get my hair back? We Grow Hair Indie can help you do just that. I'm Rob, and I got my hair back at We Grow Hair Indie. Here's Darren Andrews, clinic director, to tell you why I chose them.
For nearly 20 years, we've helped thousands of clients grow their hair back, and we can help you. We're one of only 2 places in the entire country to offer the Artist Robotic FUE and multi-unit hair grafting.
I got multi-unit hair grafting. I love the results and cannot believe how much hair I got back. I can't recommend them enough. Call right now, 317-522-2995 for a free evaluation. Great technology, great company, great people, great results. Go to WeGrowHairIndie.com, see my results, and call 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995. Don't you want to say, I got my hair back? Hey guys, it's Rob for my friends at Save a Tree. You know, spring has sprung, and that means we're getting some wild weather right now. Wild weather also means it's time to start thinking about your yard and how you want your yard to look all summer long. I was doing that. That's why I called my friends at Save a Tree, the tree, shrub, and lawn experts. And I'll tell you what, after Sean from Save a Tree came out, took a look around, gave me some suggestions, I think my yard's going to be looking great after some tough winter weather. They got a game plan, getting ready to put that into action very soon. Save a Tree are the pros to treat your lawn so it's weed-free and looks picture perfect. You can make it the envy of the neighborhood. See how beautiful your yard can be. Set up your own free evaluation at saveatree.com. That's SAVATREE.com. That's SAVATREE.com. Or simply dial pound 250 on your smart device. Use the keyword Save a Tree. Save a Tree, the tree, shrub, and lawn experts. Tell them Rob sent you.
From a fast break to recovery, Indiana hospitals are here for every Hoosier, regardless of their ability to pay. That's why we're teaming up with legislators on a winning playbook to lower costs and protect access to care across our communities. Because good policy doesn't leave anyone on the sidelines. Learn more at HoosierLifeline.com.
Paid for by the Indiana Hospital Association.
Listen up, fellow Gen Xers. Elizabeth Banks here. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the way. We've done this before. Music videos, fanny packs, even the World Wide Web. Let's do it again and get vaccinated, because we're at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Gen X, this is our shot. Visit vaxassist.com and schedule a vaccine today. Sponsored by Pfizer.
It's JMV. Enjoy your new landscape this spring and your new outdoor furniture. Save 20% on all in-stock patio furniture at Miss M's this week. State Road 135 in Bargersville.
Addiction. It's hard on those who struggle with it, but those who love the addict need support too. Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick provide help and hope with Supporting Sobriety. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on WIPC.com.
Casey, we would be remiss if we didn't mention, because we're almost through the program today, and I think this certain people feel like a really big deal.
Okay.
And the passing of Val Kilmer feels like a really big deal.
Oh, yeah. That was a surprise to wake up to this morning.
Now, he had some pretty serious health issues. Like, if you remember in the top...
Throat cancer.
In the Top Gun movie that came out, he has a role in it, the most recent one, but he doesn't talk. I think he's got some sort of computer system or whatever that if I remember, I don't remember exactly right, but it was clear he was in ill health in that movie. And yes, he passed away yesterday at the age of 65.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like he was a Marlon Brando of actors. He's not Al Pacino or Robert De Niro, but he was in some really big movies.
Yeah.
And you sort of...
And you knew who he was.
Right.
You're not like, who was it? What was that actor's
Right.
name? I mean, you say Val Kilmer, and you know exactly who you're talking about.
And you think about guys who do multiple big movies over multiple decades. I mean, he had Top Gun in the 80s,
Mhm.
but then he had Tombstone. He had
I'll be your Huckleberry.
He had the Batman. He was the Batman.
Mhm. Yep.
I mean, over in the 90s.
Yep.
That feels like a guy that's a pretty sustained career of production in Hollywood.
So the big movies for Val Kilmer for me, of course, Top Gun, both Top Guns, but he played Jim Morrison in The Doors.
That's right, he did, didn't he?
An epic performance in that movie. And I recall all the stories that he made everybody on set call him Jim Morrison for like a year. And that's where I believe the stories that he was, quote, difficult to work with started from, because he just wanted to stay in character. Critically acclaimed performance for that role. But an even younger star, he was in Real Genius.
Oh, wow. Boy, you're going way back.
Yeah. Now, do you remember that's the one where they had the laser and they shot it at the house and it filled up with popcorn and busted out all the windows? And I think, what was his name? Laszlo was hiding in the closet.
So that was early 1980s,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. This was like really, really early for Val Kilmer. So his repertoire of work has been throughout my entire life. But something I learned about him that I didn't know, one, he was very much into poetry.
Yes.
He was nominated for a Grammy for spoken word.
And you think about in the 90s, now it's not so much anymore, but at least through Christian Bale, being Batman was a really big deal. Like, that was news when they picked the new Batman. You think about Michael Keaton and Val Kilmer and George Clooney, and then through Christian Bale, and I obviously what Ben Affleck was Batman at one point. Now I don't even know who the new guy is, but I mean that has lost its luster as they put these movies out more and more frequently. But when in the 90s and even in the 2000s, being Batman was a huge honor in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And while his movie is not, I don't think it's regarded by Batmanologists as one of the better Batman films. He still had the honor of playing Batman at a time where that was a super big deal.
Yeah. He also played the ghost of Elvis in a movie called True Romance. I mean, consider the characters that he played.
Yeah.
Batman, Doc Holliday, Jim Morrison, Elvis, Iceman.
It does.
I mean, there are some big roles.
It does feel like, too, because the point of all this is, again, not in any way saying he's Dustin Hoffman, but it does feel like he was a big deal. He represented a period of time.
Yeah.
And this will happen every so often where these people will pass away and you'll say, man, it feels like part of that era just went with him. And that I'm sure that's the Top Gun connection. I'm sure because that was such a big movie and it's so connected to the 1980s and it's so iconic. And it just feels like, man, something went yesterday.
When you hear the phrase, I'll be your wingman.
Yeah.
You're thinking about a buddy out of the bar, right? But didn't that phrase start with him in the Top Gun movie being Tom Cruise's wingman?
Yeah, that's a great point. And boy, what a guy and what a life. And 65 doesn't sound very old.
It's not very old.
But
he was the youngest guy ever to get into Juilliard as well.
Boy, you must have had a crush on him because you are up on his stuff.
Well, come on. I mean, have you seen the Top Gun movies?
Well, I have.
Did you see him in those leather pants in the Doors?
Hey, we got to get ready to walk over to the Secretary of State's office
We doing
and drop
this?
these drop these questions off for Diego.
Is that
he
all
wanted.
we're doing? We're just dropping off questions?
Well, I mean, we're going to have a conversation with whoever greets us at the door, and hopefully maybe we can get some more information out of that
Diego
person.
will be there.
I highly.
Is he even in country?
Yeah, that's always the question with Diego. Not only is he in his office, or even is he in town, or isn't he in state? Is he even in the country?
In the country, right.
So we'll skedoodle on over there. Casey's going to have her cellular telephone to film and compose it all.
I'm ready to document.
And then and maybe we'll get something posted for you here in a little bit later this afternoon on how that goes.
All right. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you for listening today. This has been Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Indiana patients rely on many types of pharmacies to access their medication.